And now, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird presents
a little bit of a different spotlight. I'm Nicho, and it's just me today. We're trying something a little bit differently. Through the past couple years, I've grown my social circle a little bit online, and I've got to meet some pretty cool people, and mainly through streamers, specifically one of my buddies, SugiLogic, and this spotlight is going to be a recording that I was luckily enough to be invited to and be a part of on Sugi Stream, a discussion about Star Wars, specifically episodes 1 through 3 and 7 through 9. It was us shooting the shit, and we just figured it's content that I was part of, and I do have permission from Sugi to share this. And we figured it'd be something that maybe you would be interested in listening to, and just something a little different than what we normally do. So, without any further ado, Nicho and SugiLogic's review of or discussion about Star Wars.
Home is behind, the world ahead, and there are many paths to tread through shadow to the edge of night, until the stars are all alight. Mist and shadow, cloud and shade, all shall fade, all shall fade. Now listen, son, in this here town of the good, the bad, and the weird, you either live by the gun, or you die by the sword.
I hope you enjoyed that song, NachoEgg. That song was for you. The Edge of Night. Originally performed by Billy Boyd in The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Hello, everyone. How are you doing tonight? NachoEgg, welcome back to the SugiVerse. We will have you on mic here very shortly in just a minute or two. Quantum Ferret, welcome back to the SugiVerse. Walrus, welcome back to the SugiVerse. And Laughenstein, welcome back to the SugiVerse. And Laugh, thank you so much for the 13 months. 13 months of a SugiLogic emote collection. 13 months of Logic Point Multiplier. And 13 months of not having to watch ads. Thank you so much, Laugh. You're so awesome. If you haven't heard, tonight's going to be a Star Wars discussion. We have NachoEgg, the head slime lord of the Good, the Bad, and the Weird movie podcast. I believe it's coming up on 4 years. Isn't that correct, Nacho? 4 years of the Good, the Bad, and the Weird. Here's a little link here. Currently, the Good, the Bad, and the Weird movie podcast is doing Lord of the Rings episodes. They have covered the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, and the first part of the Return of the King, as well as a history episode of the Lord of the Rings. I've been listening to them every single week, and they have been so good. I've been loving them. They're awesome. Even if you're not into Lord of the Rings, please check it out, though. It's right at that link there on Spotify. NachoEgg and Chris with the Good, the Bad, and the Weird movie podcast. Hell yeah, 4. Once we hit May, 4 years of the Good, the Bad, and the Weird. It's awesome. And Koala Bar, how you doing? Welcome back to the SugiVerse. It's an honor to have you here. Just a quick rundown of rules. We're going to be talking about Star Wars, just this little franchise, hidden gem franchise that nobody knows about. So we're going to talk about it just to bring light to it, so that more people find out about Star Wars. What a hidden gem! Just very, very secret franchise, not very popular. Starborgs, yeah. What is Star Wars? Exactly. They don't know. Laugh has never heard of Star Wars. Neither has Walrus. Want to make sure I heard you right. Yeah, it's a Starborgs. Exactly. It is Starborgs. That's what it's called. I don't even know what we were talking about today. Yep, we're just improv. We didn't watch any Star Wars movies. Zero research. We're just going to see what happens. Just some quick rules here. I have chatting rules. So, just chatting rules. Please keep Star Wars posts limited to the movies only. No TV shows, books, or games, as Nacho and Sugi have not completed all of them yet. So Nacho and I have not watched all of the shows, we have not played all the games, and we have not read all the books. So please don't talk about those. Talk about the movies as much as you want, spoil the movies as much as you want, because we watched those, so that's fine. Oh, cool. I love Star Wars. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad you love Star Wars. I love Star Wars, too. Enticing Chaos wants to know if there's more than one. Yep, there's more than one Enticing. She is thinking of Star War, exactly. So if you want to chat and be a part of the conversation, please just keep it to the movies. I just don't want, as far as like shows, books, and games, the ones I have looked into are really good, so I don't want a lot of them to get spoiled for Nacho and I and the whole chat, so we're keeping it to the movies. The other one is, what did I do? It's just chatting. And this one is more just related to my channel. During Just Chatting stream, sound alerts and text-to-speech will be muted, and songs will be refunded. Thank you for understanding. So if you buy a sound alert, it's going to be silent. You're just going to be giving me bits for a silent alert. And if you want to use bits on text-to-speech, you're going to be giving me bits for silent text-to-speech. And if you redeem a song, I'll make a note and I'll refund your song. Just because I want to respect my honored guest of NachoEgg. I want the focus to be on him. I want the conversation to be on him because he is a legend of the Good, the Bad, and the Weird movie podcast. Brit Attacks, how you doing? And Brit Attacks, thank you for the 15 months. Holy shit. Thank you. 15 months of the SugiLogic emote collection. 15 months of a logic point multiplier. 15 months of not having to watch ads. Thank you so much, Brit. I hope you've been having a good day. All right, any questions? If not, we're going to summon the Slime Lord himself, NachoEgg. Tina, how you doing? Welcome back to the SugiVerse. Hope your day's been going well, Tina. All right, we ready? Okay, let's do it. We're here, everybody, prepare your ears. Okay, before we summon Nacho, once again, everybody, this stream, as well as every single one of my streams, as this emote says, and down in that bottom right corner, is rated 18+. If you ever feel uncomfortable by the content, whether it's something that I'm saying or something that Nacho is saying, please close out the stream. Your safety is more important than this channel. Always prioritize your safety. So if we say something that makes you uncomfortable, just close out the stream and get the hell out of here and be safe. Because I will warn you, well, I'm a very crazy person. Nacho's a very crazy person. You're going to hear some crazy things. My favorite Lord of the Rings characters are Grima Wormtongue and Denethor. You're going to hear some crazy shit. You're about to just, have your mind, burned forever when it comes to Star Wars and just movies in general. Internet is potato, but I'm here for it, though. Nice. Rat Puke, how you doing? Welcome back to the SugiVerse. You want to summon Nicho? Summon the Slime Lord. Hi, Rat Puke. How you doing, Coastal Cinephile? How you doing? Grima, yeah, I love Grima Wormtongue. What a legend. I will feed on you, Rat Puke. Yeah, I'm doing good. All right, let's summon him. NachoEgg, are you ready? Here we go! He's being summoned. Oh, is he here?
Did not hear a cold one crack.
Did you open a beer?
I did not hear a cold one cracked.
All right, chat, can you hear him? Can you? Oh, we look at all these good, the bad, and the weird emotes. Oh, yeah, Sidekicker, how you doing? Welcome back to the SugiVerse. Good to see you, Sidekicker. Go ahead, Nacho.
Howdy, everyone. It's an honor to be here again. I just want to say thank you all. I am sipping a cold one, specifically a honey box, so my sweet baritone can drizzle into your ear holes. And I'm drinking it from a certain mug that a bunch of little shits got me.
Oh, yeah. If you don't know, the community here in the SugiVerse, we hit a community challenge of logic points that if we hit the challenge, I would buy NachoEgg another gift. And the gift that I bought NachoEgg was a beer stein with the logo of the green dragon on it from the Lord of the Rings. So that's what Nacho's drinking from. So we all got him that gift together as a team.
It's a beautiful gift. I called you all little shits in the last episode too.
And Coastal Cinephile, thank you so much for the follow. This your channel, Sugi's Love, Sugi is Life. Spread the Sugi, spread the seed. Welcome to the SugiVerse. And Laugh, thank you for contributing. Thank you for contributing to the chess stream challenge. Drizzle into me, Nacho. Laughingstein says. Pics. He posted a picture in the Discord. He definitely did. And Britt, thank you for contributing to the chess stream. Did we just complete the chess? I think we just completed the chess stream. That's going to be a disaster. Thank you, everybody who contributed to the chess stream.
I'll take a picture of it when we take our brief break in about an hour or so.
Yep. Cool. Yeah,
and I do want to give a caveat before we start, Sugi.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen all the movies. The only one I have not seen is Solo, so I have not seen all the Star Wars movies.
Okay. I won't talk about it. Or I will talk about it. We'll see what happens.
Do it. I don't care. It's going to be a while before I've seen it. I mean,
it's okay.
I haven't seen it by now.
It's okay. I saw all the movies, but I don't think I remember what happened in The Rise of Skywalker, so that one will be interesting. That one I only saw twice, and I don't remember what even happened in that one. So it's gonna be interesting. You know, he posted it in my Discord in the general. He definitely posted it in mine. He definitely did, Britt. You should see that movie. Oh, I think Koala said you should watch Solo. I enjoyed the Solo movie. I thought it was good.
At some point, I've got other sci-fi movies I got to get through by July, so...
You have a lot of movies to get through. Before we start, I want to say this to you, Nacho. Literally, like, in my life, like, the things that motivate me to get through every day and wake up and go to work and just deal with shit, what motivates me in life is forms of entertainment, whether it be video games, whether it be streaming, whether it be music, whether it be movies, TV shows. And these past, like, month and a half, like, one of my biggest motivations has been the Good, the Bad, and the Weird movie podcast Lord of the Rings episodes, because they are so much fun for me, because I love Lord of the Rings, love listening to you and Chris talk. So thank you so much for the hard work in doing these episodes. They've been my weekly motivations every single day. So thank you. Just wanted to say that.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you like them. I hope we were able to contribute a little something about a movie that's been done a million times before.
It's great. I just wanted to say that because that truly is one of my weekly motivations is we got to get to Sunday so we can listen to the next episode.
Yeah. I'm glad you like them, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So, I have a very, very loose structure of just topics that we'll start off with. This is a very, very, we don't have a strict structure for this. We're mainly just going to be talking, going off of what each other says and going off of what the chat says. We're just going to talk about Star Wars. We're going to talk about our thoughts. And Nacho and I, if you watched the horror movie podcast that we did here on this channel, like, we have some insane opinions that, like, and hot takes that very few people share with us. So it's going to be interesting. We wanted to see what happens here. So this is the first topic. This is, like, the one that I really wanted to do the most. Can you guess what this topic is?
What that mouth do on Jar Jar?
You're close. You're close. Thank you, Laugh. I'm glad you did this.
Wow.
I'll say you're close, but the topic I want to start off with is one of the most, like, dividing movies ever of all time. It is called Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. That's what I want to talk about. I guess how we start, either one of us can give an opening statement, then we can just go from there. Do you want me to give an opening statement? Because I'll go if you want to.
Give your opening statement, man.
All right. I feel like we're, like, in court. Like, I have to give it up. I feel like we're doing the trial of the Phantom Menace. All right.
Objection.
All right, I gotta go to the front. Gotta put my hand up. I swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and only the truth. I feel like we're in court. All right. So, the Phantom Menace. I was a wee lad. I was a child when I first saw the Phantom Menace. But here's my take. The honorary SugiLogic presides. Hell yeah, Laugh. So, I put the Phantom Menace in a Sugi-created category. I call this category Rob Zombie's Halloween. Whereas, if you watch Rob Zombie's Halloween as a standalone slasher movie, it's a really fun movie to watch. If you watch it as a Halloween movie, it's got a ton of problems. And I put the Phantom Menace in that same category. If you look at the Phantom Menace, watch it as a standalone, just sci-fi adventure movie, it is a really fun movie. You watch it as a Star Wars movie, it does have a lot of problems, especially if you're going from How you doing, Blade? Welcome to the SugiVerse. If you're going from the original trilogy, which is about this epic story of the Rebel Alliance versus the Galactic not the Galactic Civil War, the Galactic Empire. You have the Alliance of Rebels versus the Empire, which is such an epic story. You have Luke on one side, Darth Vader on the other. All three movies cover this epic story. And then we go to the Phantom Menace, and the plot is two Jedi have to protect a queen because Newt Gunray wants her to sign a piece of paper. That plot is just like very, very, very huge downgrade compared to the original trilogy. It's just like a very underwhelming plot. So I understand why, like, when that first released, like, people were expecting this huge epic story, and then you go to, oh, they want her to sign a treaty, so we gotta protect her. This story is a huge downgrade, so I get why a lot of people were disappointed. But I do feel like, and yes, like what Blade said, one of the best things about that movie is the soundtrack. One of the coolest things I've ever experienced, just like in a movie theater or ever, is the Duel of the Fates theme when Darth Maul fights Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi Wan Kenobi. Like, I remember as a kid seeing that, I'm like, this is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And like, still the Duel of the Fates for me is just like, it just gives me goosebumps whenever I listen to it. But there was a lot of other good things. I thought, like, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi was absolutely perfect as a young Obi-Wan. And how you doing, Reaper? Welcome back to the SugiVerse. And I also think, yeah, once again, like Blade said, the music was fantastic. Jar Jar is really stupid, but I don't really hate Jar Jar. As a kid, I loved Jar Jar just because he reminds me of myself. I was just kind of thinking about it, like, you know, that scene in the Battle of Naboo where he's just like falling over and just like bumbling around through the battle and accidentally killing battle droids. Like, that basically is like watching Sugi play Overwatch or Dead by Daylight and somehow just like getting a 4K despite not knowing what he's doing. He just has a real Sugi energy to him. So I personally kind of relate to Jar Jar just because I'm kind of like Jar Jar in real life. As far as just, like, the one thing that I won't defend, like, my one big, like, negative with the Phantom Menace would definitely be Anakin Skywalker. The little boy, with, like, are you an angel? Now this is pod racing. Like, that, like, I can't defend that. Because that's just, like, we go from one of the most badass villains ever in Darth Vader to just this little kid who's just this happy little child. Like, that part is, that's the one part that doesn't sit well with me. I don't think it's 100% Jake Lloyd. I think a lot of it's just on bad writing. For me, that's the one part that always just is like cringe. That part always just hurts me. It hurts my soul to watch little boy Anakin Skywalker who's just happy. I would have preferred just more like kind of how I'm trying to think of like an evil child. I can't really think of a good one. I can get to one more like Attack of the Clones Revenge of the Sith. I have a good comparison, but I can't really explain what I would have preferred them do with Anakin in the Phantom Menace, but that's the one part I thought was really, really bad. That stands out to me. And D-Pad, thank you for the 7 months. Thank you so much. You are number one, Sugi, and fuck little Annie, hell yes. He's pretty bad. All right. Now this is pod racing, hell yeah, cool. I'm just catching up on the chat. Let's see. I am Jar Jar the true dark Sith. It sounds like everybody loves Jar Jar. I am very surprised. This is shocking to me. All right. So hang on, Diamondback. Thank you for the 6 months as well. D-Pad and Diamondback, thank you for renewing your subs of the SugiLogic emote collection. Logic Point Multiplier and not having to watch ads. Sorry, I kind of went on for a while there. You go ahead. You go ahead.
No, it's all good, man. I mean, you brought up some really good points. I know the biggest criticism when it first came out was little Annie, and I agree. Honestly, the writing of episode 1 is pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And I think part of it lies within trying to create an origin story. And the thing is, I think little Annie is a little bit too pure of a character for what he's going to become. There's no even Into Darkness, so it's kind of a real big leap for him between episode 1 and episode 2 for the most part. But I think also, and I do apologize, you guys are going to get intimately knowledgeable with Charlie's yelling at me.
No worries, I love Charlie. No worries.
And yeah, it's definitely not Jake Lloyd's issue, and I always find that hard with reviews of any kind when it comes to children, because children aren't good actors in general to begin with. I mean, you have the very few rare ones like Leonardo DiCaprio, or or younger ones like when Johnny Depp was younger, and just like they're on a completely different level, and it's like something that they were born to do. Kids are very hard to convey certain feelings because they don't understand that stuff. So yeah, like when he says, "Are you an angel?" Yeah, it's a stupid line, and also it implies that there's angels in the Star Wars universe. But I don't know. It's hard to give him shit, and especially with what it ended up doing to him as an actor, I do feel really bad for him. And just not just as an actor, as a human being in general. But again, like you said, the fault doesn't really lie on him. The writing's not that great. Mm-hmm. And part of the issue with Star Wars Episode 1, because I did see this when I was quite a bit younger too. It came out, what, 98?
99.
Or 99?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I was about 8 or when I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember that I loved it. I thought it was beautiful visually. I mean, it wasn't my first Star Wars experience. I had seen at least the first movie or Episode 4 in theaters when they did a re-release.
Yep.
Re-release of them.
Yep.
And that was one of my earliest cinematic experiences and memories, was going to see Episode 4. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to Episode 1, I don't know. It's been a while since I've rewatched it, but I think part of what drags it out is that it doesn't have that epic, action-packed, really intro from the Episode 4. Mm-hmm. It really, like you said, it's very much about just someone having to sign a piece of paper. It's kind of Cold War-esque, and it's very slowly politically driven. So it's more about setting up the world and the political climate instead of making it a good sci-fi epic.
Yes.
Or a meaningful sci-fi epic. Mm-hmm. I mean, like you said, it's entertaining if you're not going into it as a Star Wars movie. But if you go into it as just a cheesy sci-fi movie, then yeah, it's not it's a different experience. And as Coastal Cinephile, what up, Austin? Says the negotiations are short.
Beautiful.
I mean,
that's beautiful, Austin.
Yeah, they just go, like, they're real quick about it too. Is like there's not even like that. There's not even really a tension. It's just like, we want this, we don't like each other, and that's it. There's not really any real danger between them until like once Darth Maul sent after them to assassinate them,
which is like halfway through the movie.
Exactly.
It's like over an hour into the movie.
Like, I mean, we get, I mean, to be fair, we do get introduced to Darth Maul early on. It's the same stuff, like, and yes, I'm going to reference Lord of the Rings because that's on my mind a lot right now. It's okay. But it doesn't have the same payoff like getting introduced to Lurtz in episode and the Fellowship of the Ring. Like, he doesn't show up till quite a bit far into the movie, but he still feels like a bigger threat than Darth Maul. Yes. Because we were told so many times that, oh, the Sith have been destroyed, the Sith are over. Well, we've got at least 2 as far as we know. We don't know the overextent of everything. But also I think it lies in the fact that there's not a depth to the characters, like how Luke Skywalker had his depth, Darth Vader has his depth in their conflicts. Really, Qui-Gon Jinn, as you know, is my least favorite during your playthrough of Episode 1 Lego version. Yep. He's just this super obnoxiously devout Jedi that doesn't think that anything bad is ever going to happen. Like, the Force will show the way. The Force will do this. Mm-hmm. And there is one part, because like most of us probably, loved Jar Jar as a kid. Rewatched it as an adult. Can't stand him for the most part. There is one part that I completely agree with Jar Jar, and it's when the power goes out in the ship, and they're at the bottom of the lake, and everything's starting to fail, and Qui-Gon's like, the Force will guide us, the Force will protect us. And it's like, the hell are you talking about?
It's like, how is the Force going to give us electricity back and start the ship up again? Start the cruiser back. I'm going to look at the chat real quick. Very good points.
Good.
I completely agree with everything you said, man. Like, that's perfect. It was one of my earliest movie theater experiences, too, as a child. So, yeah, I loved it so much. Jar Jar was a character for kids. Loved him as a kid. He's not as funny now due to the writing. I agree, Qualabar. Reaper says, don't blame actors for bad characters. Exactly. Diamondback says, the kid from The Grudge was fantastic. I will agree. That was a great performance. Yeah.
Like, I want to rebuke that. Judge the actor if they're an adult, and it's really bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes. We'll get to that in episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Well, we'll get to that. A little bit of that later. We'll get to that. The writers should be trying to write lines that the child actors can do. Yes. Enticing Chaos, how you doing? Welcome back to the SugiVerse. Sidekicker was 13 in 1999. Way older than me, Sidekicker. Coastal Cinephile with the negotiations were short. Quantum Ferret says we're all a bunch of babies. Quantum is way older than us. Quantum Ferret is a grandpa, as Sidekicker says. Quantum's like, back in my day, understandable. Enticing Cast is here to find out if there is more than one Star Wars. That was so long ago.
Back in my day, we had one Federation. we had one Senate.
There's always a bigger fish. Coastal Cinephile with the amazing quotes. I'm loving it. Keep it up, Coastal. Keep it up. There's more than one.
One thing
go ahead.
The other thing I do want to bring up real quick is pod racing.
Yes.
Pod racing is dope as shit. I don't care. It is such it's a cool part of the movie, but it's such a short-lived part as well as most of everything else. Actually, that's a good part. Most of everything in the movie is short-lived. Like, there's not really any depth or length to the movie. It's very popcorn compared to what the original Star Wars was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Blade says Padme seducing Anakin is a double standard.
You're right, Elijah.
Yeah, you're right. Technically, isn't still a Star War. The pod racing video game is so bad. It is a badass game. There's like only one
That's
war.
What I want to play still.
But yes, pod racing was freaking sweet. Pod racing...
Yeah,
Go ahead.
That's the thing. There is one war, and it's the entire 9 movies.
Exactly. It's the Skywalker saga. It's one huge war. You're correct, Enticing Chaos. But the pod racing is just like a... space Mad Max death race, and when you watch it you're like, I don't know what I'm looking at, but this is awesome. It's just nuts.
It's Death Race 2000.
It's just batshit crazy space death race. And yes, the pod racing is awesome. That was freaking sweet. Definitely the Duel of the Fates and the pod racing are my 2 favorite parts of that movie. And I do agree with what you say. Qui-Gon Jinn, he's just a very stupid character. Like, character-wise, you're like you just said, he's like, the Force will guide us. This is right. Everything he does, he thinks, like, is just gonna work itself out. Meanwhile, Obi Wan Kenobi and Padme are like, what the hell are you doing? Like, we're gonna put everything, like, on the line in this pod race and just gamble it? Like, you're an idiot. They're just, like, telling him how stupid he is, and he just ignores them the whole movie. So I agree with that. I definitely like Obi-Wan and Padme in that movie more than Qui-Gon. And another just awkward part about that movie is there's not really, like, one main character. There's not really a main protagonist. Like, is it Qui-Gon? Is it Padme? Is it Anakin? Like, who even is the main character, like, of the movie? I'm not really sure.
Feels like Jar Jar ends up taking center stage more often than not.
He really does. He plays a huge part in the movie. He really moves the plot along in a lot of parts. Qui-Gon Jinn has seen all the movies and believes in plot armor. He definitely does. He definitely does laugh. Chat, do you have any other comments about the Phantom Menace? Say anything you want. You're free to your own opinion here.
Want to add Darth Maul is dope.
He is dope. Oh my god, he looks so cool. I remember just like that's what I remember most about it, because like as a kid, when I watched that fight and then he killed Qui-Gon, I was just in shock. I'm like, oh shit, he's dead. That was just mind blowing when he killed Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
And really, like, you were saying, like, as far as the plot, it doesn't do a whole lot for the saga, because it really doesn't. The only big things that happen for the whole Star Wars saga in The Phantom Menace is, one, Palpatine overthrows Chancellor Valorum, so Palpatine moves up as the new Chancellor. And then two, Qui-Gon dies, and in his dying wish, he guilts Obi Wan into, like, training Anakin. He's like, his dying wish is, promise me you'll train the boy. Those are really the only two big things that, like, overall, like, saga-wise, those are the only big things that happen in the movie. Everything else is just really filler, to be honest.
And that's a good point, too, because, like, it feels like Qui-Gon is supposed to more so be the main character. Mm-hmm. And by the time we get to Anakin, who probably was written as, like, the central character to work on, because this is his trilogy, it's his arc, really. Mm-hmm. He's really a nothing character compared to everyone else.
Yep, he really is he's just kind of there. He's just there because Anakin has to be in it, and he does, like, jack shit.
And he's like Darth Maul, it takes an hour to get to him.
Exactly. Yeah, easily the worst part is just like, how are they gonna portray young Darth Vader? And then we see it and we're like, oh god, this is horrible. Like, please don't let this actually be it. This is awful. Oh, when Qui-Gon died, my day was ruined. And Maul had too little screen time. He definitely did. If he had more screen time, he could have been more like Lurtz from Fellowship of the Ring, like Nacho said. Action-wise, the best lightsaber fight in the series. I agree, Koala. That lightsaber fight is so cool. How they go from, like, the main lobby to, like, that room with all the bridges and beams into, like, that, like, with, like, all those, like, energy walls and barriers. That was such a cool fight. Some had more emotion in it, but the fight choreography was sick. The 30th song, What Did I Miss? We can't sing it tonight. We're refunding songs tonight just because we were focusing on Nacho, because he's our guest. But maybe next time we'll do the 30th song, Walrus. No one's redeemed it yet. And yes, Koala. And like another thing that really added tension to that lightsaber fight was those like energy walls. They were like red because Obi Wan got like knocked down to a lower bridge. Then when he got up, like Qui-Gon and Maul were divided. They were like blocked off from Obi Wan, so he could see Qui-Gon fighting Maul, but he couldn't help him. Like that definitely added some tension. And then they opened again, and then he got blocked off again, and that's how Qui-Gon died. That was cool. It was just really, really like intense. Lightsaber fight, and definitely one of the best ones, I would say, of all the movies. If nobody has any last comments about the Phantom Menace, we're going to move on to the next topic. Do you have anything else you want to add, Nacho?
Not really. I mean, I think we covered the main parts. Like, I mean, there's not really much, and there's not really much of a world building either. Because I mean, It's weirdly a nothing movie with some good parts to it.
Exactly. Really fun movie. Like I said, once again, Rob Zombie's Halloween. You watch it as its own standalone movie, it's a lot of fun. You watch it as a franchise movie, or for the franchise it's in, it has a ton of problems. It 100% has a ton of problems as a Star Wars movie. Mostly in the writing, like we just said. So we'll move on. We'll move on from The Phantom Menace. A lot of good points by everybody. I'm enjoying this. So our next topic, we're just going to go right in order. We're going to move on to Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones for our next topic. Would you like to do an opening statement on this, or do you want me to go again?
I can go first this time.
Yep.
We can alternate back and forth. Let's do it that way.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
Alright, so Episode 2, I think, is definitely a much superior movie. It feels more like a true Star Wars movie from the get-go. Mm-hmm. We're reintroduced to the friendly faces, kind of in the same way that how Empire Strikes Back starts as well. Is we're introduced to our new characters again. There's danger coming up, but it's in a very different setting where still not really at war yet, which is. I mean, that's where we start off in Episode 4, or we start off in Episode 4 at war, openly at war.
Yep.
In this one, we know that the Sith are out there, and start off with the assassination attempt. I always thought that was one of the coolest scenes when I was a kid. I loved the introduction to older Anakin, where you immediately know he's got feelings for Padme. He's not really Jedi-like because he's very what's the term? He's rash and just impulsive, that whole part where like he jumps off the speeder to just fall onto someone else's car.
Hell yes. He's like flying.
Yeah. Good point, Laugh. Yeah, they explain everything of episode 1 in the first elevator ride.
Yep, exactly, Laugh. Exactly. Because barely anything happened.
Yeah, and episode 2 was interesting for me because between episode 1 and episode 2, I had moved and I was living in Germany at the time. I remember going to see episode 2 on a Boy Scout trip because it was, what we would do is on Labor Day and Memorial Day, we would go and clean the gravestones at Luxembourg Cemetery. And we'd actually camp out in the cemetery. And so one of the nights we went out and we went to Luxembourg, or the main city in Luxembourg,
mm-hmm.
and saw Star Wars Episode 2. So I remember seeing that specifically because of where we were at the time. And I remember I loved it. Like, I mean, it was, the action's cool, the build-up's cool, Count Dooku's a great villain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just everything that they bring together makes it so much better. There are the stupid parts of like Anakin and Padme, with Anakin riding the space hippo or whatever the hell it is. I don't know.
They're just like big blob creatures.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it definitely builds the world a lot better because even though it's a more divided movie than the last one, Anakin and Obi Wan are both doing their own things and building different arcs. Mm-hmm. Where Anakin's building up his arc between him and Padme, Obi Wan is building up the rest of the story arc.
Yep. And
Anakin's arc is one of those ones where it's a little bit slower, but it pays off in the third movie.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like it's a longer play than what Obi-Wan's is. And Obi-Wan is fantastic. Ewan McGregor is one of probably my favorite characters Obi-Wan is one of my favorite characters in the entire Star Wars franchise, just because he still that's the weird thing too, is he also changes from kind of a devout Padawan in episode 1, and then in episode 2, he's a bit snarky.
Yes.
I love his like little bit of sassy assholeness to him.
He's just the sassy, experienced Jedi Knight.
Yeah, exactly.
I love him, though. He's perfect.
Who's tired of everyone's shit.
Yep.
And then, honestly, like, the whole, the cloning planet's great, and it's a good setup of two opposing forces as well. Because we're really having that build-up of, like, okay, we know there's droids. The droid armies are the biggest thing. Oh, shit. There's this clone army that's kind of chilling in the wings, just waiting for the go-ahead kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just such a nice play on each other of like, hey, it's basically the Space Cold War coming to a head. And instead of nukes, they've got two giant massive armies.
Yeah.
One robots, one clones. Which is just super sci-fi in just every regard to it.
It's pretty badass.
And yeah, I mean, it was at that age where big fight scene with Padme in the arena was a very interesting time for me as a kid.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, and we just also got to see so much more of the Jedi. Because honestly, the most Jedi we've seen up until this point, we did see Jedi in episode 1. We saw more of them. We actually got to see the Jedi in action as a military force, as a keeper of the peace. Especially like, what was it? The green guy where he just drops down and then pushes the droids and smiles.
Kit
like
Fisto.
It just brought.
His name is Kit Fisto.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and what's Grievous?
Huh?
Or isn't he in this one?
No, General Grievous is not in this one. He's only in Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. I don't know why I think of him in that one. But yeah, I mean, they did such a good job with setting everything up that, I don't know, it was just hard to... It's hard to look back at episode 1 and realize that, hey, this is what it was leading to. And that's the weird thing, too. It doesn't even really lead into it. There's such a big time leap between the two.
Yeah.
Anakin goes from... And I agree that it's a good time jump, because he goes from being this innocent little kid to... guy who is forced into the into everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Chupa, thank you for the 100 bits. And my text-to-speech is currently turned off because we're just chatting, but I'll say it for you out loud. I'm haunted by that kiss that you should have never given me. Thank you so much, Chupa. I just wanted to say it in that voice, just for you, since my text-to-speech is turned off. Kit Fisto tried to arrest the Senate. That is true. Are you done with your opening statement, or did you want to keep going?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've got to it, because, well, actually, the other thing I really like to, especially, like, building up Count Dooku as the bad guy, like, it was just, like, that big twist of, like, oh shit, of course he's the bad guy, it's Christopher Lee.
Amazing actor.
But I also liked it just because, like, it showed, like, as strong as Obi Wan was at that time, and it shows how weak Anakin really was, despite being the chosen one, the Jedi Jesus, per se. It just showed, like, how really weak they were to the dark side, and how powerful Yoda was. And honestly, that was some of the coolest CGI as a kid, just watching Yoda bounce around and fight everyone.
It is pretty dope. Because it's like the first time we ever saw Yoda fight ever in a Star Wars movie, so it's pretty cool. He also hates... Oh, he does hate sand. Hell yeah. I don't like sand.
And rough and gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere.
To be fair, I have the exact same sentiment.
Yeah, but I don't like sand either. I agree with that. You want me to respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll save my stuff on Hayden Christensen for later.
Okay, cool. Because after I was going to respond, I had some questions for you based off of the things you said.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, what I'll say, I agree with the majority of the things you said. The writing's definitely better. The plot is way more focused on just like the overall Skywalker saga than the Phantom Menace. It's significantly just more relevant things going on. Like you just said, everything with Obi Wan Kenobi was fantastic. Ewan McGregor, incredible. But here's where I'll go. I'll start off the Hayden Christensen, like, negatives. Like, basically, you're Star Wars. You're one of the biggest, like, film franchises in the world ever. You can get pretty much any actor you want. Like, any actor, like, if you, like, reach out to them, they're going to say yes. Like, they're going to join Star Wars. So, like, when you see Ewan McGregor as a young Obi Wan Kenobi, he's literally perfect. He's, like, even better than you could have imagined him to be. When you see, then you you go to Jake Lloyd and Hayden Christensen, you don't see even in Attack of the Clones, I don't see him as Darth Vader. I see him as an actor playing Anakin Skywalker. I don't see the character at all. Like, he just doesn't, like, fit as a younger Darth Vader. Like, even if you go with, what was I gonna say? Like, not different franchise. You watch The Lord of the Rings and then The Hobbit. Ian Holm, who plays old Bilbo Baggins, just feels exactly like an older Martin Freeman who plays younger Bilbo Baggins. Like, they're literally perfect. With Star Wars, just like, the thing that hurts is, like, they could have done so much better than what we got with the Anakin Skywalker actors. I feel like the writing was a lot better in Attack of the Clones, and I think it was still part dialogue, but mostly on Hayden Christensen, why I didn't really care for him in Clones. I thought he was a lot better in Revenge of the Sith. His performance was better. I thought the writing was better too. But really what bothers me the most about Hayden Christensen is he doesn't sell that love story with Padme, like, at all.
Oh, no.
I don't buy it at all. And, like, I'm not against love stories. Love stories done well are amazing. In movies and TV shows. I just got done binge watching Upload, which is a drama. It's a love story, a sci-fi love story. It was incredible. I was obsessed with it. I watched the whole thing in 2 days. It was so good. Just like any love story, like the love story between Aragorn and Arwen. It's beautiful. The love story between Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor from Terminator. Absolutely beautiful. Shrek and Fiona. What an amazing love story. This love story is absolute trash between Anakin and Padme. Padme, like, her performance, Natalie Portman, she does a good job, but Anakin is awful. Like, he is just creepy. He's just, like, creepily looking at her. He's like, oh, I'm haunted by that kiss that you should have never given me. And he's just, like, creepily obsessed with her when he's around her. And basically the story we get is he's creepy, and therefore she falls in love with him. That's just... complete bullshit. Like, that's not how convincing romance is done. Like, if he was likable, I would have believed it. Like, even if he was just any bit likable at all, but he's just like, he was just such an unlikable, whiny person that it just made the romance part painful. What were you going to say?
Yeah, well, and and to be fair, if you knew you had a shot with Space Jesus, I'm sure a lot of people would change their mind a little bit. But yeah, he's very much an unlikable person. I mean, and to defend their casting a little bit, I mean, historically looking at where the franchise has gone and where it was, that's what they've done is they've cast unknowns.
Yeah.
At the time, the only thing I've seen from Aiden Christensen's library is Life as a House, which he's actually pretty good in that. He plays a little bit of a knock.
I think we lost contact with Nacho. I think you're on mute. I'm going to catch up on chat here. Nacho, I think you might have muted yourself. Let's see here. If you need me to hang up and call back in, I'll do that. They actually have negative chemistry. It's amazing. Yep. Watching Upload right now. Hell yeah, Chupa. I won't spoil it for you. It's such a good show. Yes, I totally get it. I think I was a typical preteen girl and hated Star Wars love story. No effing way. Natalie Portman would fall for Annie. Yup. Love is especially important if it's supposed to create stakes. Their love is supposed to drive potential destruction of the galaxy. Yeah, exactly. Nacho, let me put this in here. Nacho, do we need... You might have muted yourself. Let's see if he sees it here. Let's see. I think he accidentally muted it. All right, let me call him back here. There we go. Go ahead and end call, Nacho. Technical difficulties. Thank you for your patience, everyone. He just got so into Hayden Christensen's acting career that he put himself on mute. All right, here we go. We're calling him back. That's good.
Hello.
All right, we got you back. I think you might have accidentally muted yourself somehow. You're
no,
back in.
I had a connection error. Your whole stream cut out.
It's okay. Must have just been a Wi-Fi issue. No worries.
It cut me off that.
Go right ahead. Hayden Christensen's acting career. The floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the only movie I know that I've seen him in before Star Wars was Life as a House, and he does a pretty good job as playing an emo stoner druggy guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see kind of why they were trying to bring like an angsty emotion to Anakin, but it doesn't work at all. And Star Wars is also known for casting unknowns in their lead roles.
Yeah,
I mean, from the very first one, most of them were unknown, and at the time, Ewan McGregor in Episode 1 was pretty much unknown. I think the only thing a lot of people would have maybe known him from at the time was Trainspotting.
Yeah.
And Liam Neeson, I have no clue his acting career. I've only seen
I don't either.
I've only seen like a couple good movies he's been in, and then a very specifically bad one that I blame Rat Puke and my father for having me watch, called Ice Road.
I have not watched that. Sounds like a very
It's
Liam
really
Neeson
bad.
movie, though. I can see him in a movie called Ice Road.
It's him and Lawrence Fishburne has a small part in it.
Uh-huh.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Really, really bad. But yeah, I mean, I understand their thought in casting. Again, they probably could have found someone better, but from my understanding of Episode 1, it was between whoever they cast as young Annie, Jake Lloyd, and the middle son from Malcolm in the Middle.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine him going from Malcolm in the Middle into Episode 1?
That'd be insane.
Yeah.
That would be insane. He had done a lot prior to Episode 1. Who are you talking about, Coastal? Here's another casting part that it is just rough. The little kid who plays Boba Fett. That that one is bad. He's just this little shit of a kid. He's just like giving you like these very negative whiny boy stares. And then I do like that asteroid Geonosis asteroid field fight with those seismic charges where it's just like that's really cool. But the whole sequence, that little kid Boba Fett's like, let's kill him, Dad. Like, that shit is so stupid. Like, that's Boba Fett. That's Boba Fett. That's just like painful. That's just as painful as like the Jake Lloyd Anakin. But
well, and I mean, it's children actors, so I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, but I mean, I just wish like I won't even say it, but like on the bright side, I thought the guy Tamura Morrison who plays Jango, he's amazing. He was awesome as Jango Fett. I honestly like Jango Fett more than Count Dooku just as a villain. But then again, Dooku barely has any screen time. He shows up like an hour and a half into the movie. But I like Jango Fett a lot. I thought the two Jango fights were cool. I thought his little fight he had with Mace Windu was really cool. And yes, like you said, seeing all the Jedi like actually fighting was pretty dope. The one negative I would have about the action was the Yoda part was cool, but the fight with Obi Wan and Anakin versus Count Dooku, I thought that fight kind of sucked. Especially the part where Anakin is wielding two lightsabers and he's fighting Dooku. They're not even showing the choreography; they're just showing close-ups of their two faces, and it's just going back and forth. And you're just seeing like lights in the background. Like you don't even get to see like the actual fighting. It's just close up on face, close up on face, close up on their face. Like I didn't like that fight. I just thought like just like the camera work on it and the choreography was really bad. Especially coming right off of Phantom Menace, that's like a huge downgrade in lightsaber fight. That's pretty disappointing, in my opinion.
Actually, I kind of forgot that he starts dual wielding lightsabers because we really don't see that often in the series, as far as what I've seen. Yeah. But it just kind of makes me think back because I know George Lucas, heavily inspired by Japanese cinema. I mean, the more you start looking into Star Wars, it's super similar to like most of Kurosawa's work. I wonder if he pulled anything from the Samurai Trilogy, because Miyamoto Musashi is the one who pioneered the dual wielding in Japanese, or in Japan in general. He was a real life person. I wonder if he pulled from that movie or anything, now that I think about it. Because, I mean, I probably haven't seen Attack of the Clones in well over a decade at this point. It's
been a long time.
Yeah.
For me, too.
Yeah.
But like that. Go ahead.
I might have to go back and look a little closer.
But like that should have been like this amazing, mind blowing thing. Like when Darth Maul had the double lightsaber, like Anakin wielding two lightsabers at once. It should have been just like the coolest thing ever. But it was trash just because of how they filmed it. I thought that was rough.
We do see. I just remembered we do see one more kind of dual wielding.
When?
Opening to Revenge of the Sith.
We do. Yeah, you're correct. We do.
Yeah.
Coastal Cinephile said Liam Neeson win an award for Schindler's List? I forgot he was in Schindler's List. I think he won like a huge award, like an Oscar or something, for his performance in that. I don't understand the dual wielding either. That's like nuts. If I was a Jedi, I would definitely just have a one blade lightsaber. Count Dooku's lightsaber is interesting because his is like a curved, like the handle is curved. That was really interesting. It kind of looks like a pistol.
I had a Count Dooku lightsaber as a kid.
What? You had a Count Dooku lightsaber?
It was one of those old ones where like you had to flick it to come open, like, or to extend it. It was one of those old ones.
Nah, bro, Darth Maul. I love Darth Maul. Random Anonymous. Darth Maul's the coolest. He's the coolest of the Sith. I don't understand the dual wielding. Like, if it gives a strategic advantage, why not always do it? I think it's just like way more difficult to learn. I think I would compare it like dual wielding. Like, it's basically like playing Trapper and playing Nurse. Laufenstein, like, if you could always teleport as the Nurse, why wouldn't you always do it? I would compare dual wielding lightsabers to the same thing because it has a bigger learning curve and it's more difficult and it comes with more risks. That's what I also think.
I also think it stems down back to the Japanese influence of Star Wars, where dual wielding wasn't a big thing. And if you look at a lot of the early movements for Star Wars. It's very samurai-like. I think I even posted a comparison a long time ago at the start of the podcast between Episode 4 and a scene in Samurai Rebellion, where they are almost exactly the same. Like, it is strikingly close.
Interesting. You want to say more about that? Because I'm interested.
Well, I mean, that's more of analysis of episode, at least the first episode, because, to be honest, no one knew Star Wars was going to be as big as it was.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the upcoming movies, the visual director of that movie didn't take Star Wars because he was going to go off and do another movie, another sci-fi epic that was supposed to happen but didn't. But the more you dive into it, so much of George Lucas ripped off a lot of Kurosawa stuff. So I just wonder how much of that actually carried over into the next three movies.
Yeah,
from the first original trilogy.
Yeah, definitely. Does anybody else have anything you want to say about Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones? I guess my parts were mainly negative, because you were just super positive, so I just wanted to balance it out. Because, I mean...
I'll be positive. What did you like about it?
I've said this all the time on stream. I get really annoyed when something gets reviewed and it's just nothing but positivity. And I get really annoyed when something gets reviewed and it's nothing but negativity. I like to have a mix. Because then you're just reviewing it for what it is instead of what you want it to be. So what I liked about Attack of the Clones, the everything Obi Wan Kenobi did, literally everything about Obi Wan Kenobi, I loved. I loved Jango Fett. Like I said earlier, I love that Geonosis asteroid field fight. I love the Obi-Wan versus Jango fight on Kamino, especially the part where Obi-Wan jumps up and does a super kick in the air. He literally flies in the air and he super kicks Jango Fett. That part is amazing. I love the Clone Army. I thought the Clone Army was badass. The whole Geonosis arena fight where there's all those creatures and then all the Jedi come out, bunch of droids come out, the Jedi are losing, the clones show up, and then they leave the arena and there's an even bigger battle going on the fields of Geonosis, and there's all these insane droid looking machines, and it's nuts. It's really, really cool. It's the start of the Clone Wars, and it's just crazy epic action that we wanted to see from Phantom Menace that we actually got a little bit of at the end of Attack of the Clones. So that's what I really liked about it.
Real quick, you just made me realize another franchise that Lucas definitely pulled from.
Go ahead.
Jango Fett. His name's Jango. He's a lone mercenary warrior.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I agree. I agree.
Which Jango's a unapologetic ripoff of, or unapologetic and unofficial remake of another Kurosawa film, Yojimbo.
It is. You have educated me on that, and Yojimbo is an amazing movie.
Yojimbo's fantastic.
Yojimbo's
another
incredible.
I have referenced 2 or 3 Miyamoto Musashi, or not Miyamoto Musashi's, what's his name? Who played the? I am blanking on his name. He is one of my favorite actors, Toshiro Mifune.
Okay.
He's also in the other movie that I didn't actually say it. Episode 4 is heavily similar to another Kurosawa film called The Hidden Fortress, in which 2 peasants are bickering over a warring or a trio of a princess and her guard trying to get across enemy borders.
Nice. Thank you for this history
Yeah.
lesson. I think this is really interesting, so thank you.
Yeah, Lucas ripped off and okay, I'm going to say this right up front. I have a little bit of issue with George Lucas. Spielberg, I give him a little... Well, okay, hear me out though.
Yeah.
So I came from 2 things. I watched a documentary on Mifune. And really good documentary. I think Keanu Reeves narrates it. There's a part in it where Spielberg says, "Oh yeah, we were heavily influenced by The Hidden Fortress. We were heavily influenced by Kurosawa's work." And then shortly after that, I think I started rewatching the original trilogy again when I only had them on VHS, and it was because the VHS had the special features at the front of the VHS, the old, the first collector's edition of them.
Yeah.
And in it, George Lucas says that, oh, he had seen Kurosawa at the time, but he didn't think it had a big influence or anything on Star Wars. It's like, you are full of shit, man. You are so full of it.
Because it definitely did.
It straight up ripped off a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
I agree.
That's my biggest qualm with Lucas for the most part is, I mean, and it's a change of climate too, and just everything where back in those days, people wanted to keep their influences a secret. And nowadays, I feel a lot of artists and creators in general are very open about, oh, well, I pulled this from here. I like this, so I kind of try to adapt it and make it something a little bit different.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I definitely feel like now people are just very open about who inspired them, what this is like based off of. Chupa brings up, how about our girl Zam Wessel bounty hunter car chase through the big downtown? I forgot about that, Chupa. The whole chase around Coruscant was sweet. Nacho kind of mentioned it, where Anakin jumped off that like speeder and it was like flying like Superman through the air. That part was really fun. That was like the few like early action that we got in the movie. That whole chase through the big downtown. We go to the bar. You want to buy some death sticks? Like that part was sweet. That was a really cool part, Chupa. I like that. That was a good part.
And Coastal Cinephiles, right? Hidden Fortress was a big inspiration for A New Hope, but that's my big issue, is that he doesn't acknowledge it.
And howdy, Zachariel. How you doing today? Welcome back to the SugiVerse. It's great to see you.
Maple Boy.
and Laugh said she had like a bug that she tried to kill Padme with. Yes, I forgot about that. She said like these poisonous slugs through Padme's window. I forgot.
I thought they were more like centipede-like.
I guess they were like sluggy centipedes. They definitely like
millipede.
Yeah, they're like white, big slug centipede hybrids. Yes. But Jango was following her and killed her with a sniper rifle. Yes, I completely forgot about that like whole sequence. Thank you, viewers. Thank you.
Laugh. That is exactly why episode 2 is so much better than episode 1, is because in the first 20 minutes, we're given our two main threats. That someone's trying to kill her, and then that someone else is out there watching over to make sure the job gets done. So we actually have that startup and building up of stuff rather than like, oh no, there's a trade war. They're not letting us get stuff, and they're killing off our people, which shows nothing. We get to whatever that big city is, and
Coruscant.
Everything looks lush, and Coruscant looks green, flourishing. Like, there's not any signs of like, oh, it's being choked and people are dying.
Oh, Theed. Sorry, Theed. You're talking about the big city in Naboo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Theed. It's called Theed. Why not explode the room she was in if they knew where she was? Yeah, why didn't they just like throw a missile into Padme's bedroom? That's a good point. Zach says episode 1 is the best episode. I respect your opinion, Zachariel. Sure, we know what the heck is at stake in the beginning. Yeah, you're absolutely right about just a much stronger beginning. I guess my only other thought on Attack of the Clones would be I just wanted more dark Anakin. They teased us with the whole Tusken Raiders sequence. Like, the one really good Anakin part. Mostly Anakin stuff in that movie I think is trash. But the one really good part is where he finds his mom and she dies. She dies because she got captured by the Tusken Raiders and she just died while she was in captivity. And then he's just like, the darkness takes over. He starts killing Tusken Raiders for like a couple of seconds and then they cut away from it. But like, if we had more moments like that, his character would have been a lot better. Instead of just like whining about, oh, it's all Obi Wan's fault. He's jealous. Like, instead of that shit. In my opinion.
I think that's actually a really good point too, is that I think what drags down the original or the prequel trilogy so much is that Anakin's supposed to be a big part of the story, and his arc is very underwhelming, especially in episode 2 as well, because like you said, his only real strife is that he can't marry Padme. Boo-hoo, you're some distant, long, far away, star-crossed lovers. Like, it's not compelling. Like, there's no reason for, like, the only reason he likes her is because she kind of had a crush on him when he was a little boy.
When he was like 9, which I still do not like. I think that their whole relationship is awful in the prequels. It's terrible. Oh.
Isn't she supposed to be like 14 or 16 or something? In
I think she's like 12 or 13. So like they're wee little children. I just don't like that. I don't like their romance at all.
It feels like a really, really bad version of in like anime where it's like, oh, this is my best friend. Oh, we're the love interest.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
9 and 14.
2% is 9 and 14. Yeah, big yikes. Yeah. Their whole them falling in love. It's just not. I just don't enjoy any of those sequences in the movies. That's definitely one of the worst parts about just the prequels in general is the Anakin and Padme love story. It's rough. Do you have any closing thoughts with Attack of the Clones? If not, I think it's a good time to take a quick restroom break / Charlie food break.
I do need to feed Charlie. You guys cannot see him, but he has been rubbing up against my legs for the past 30-45 minutes, just rubbing up, biting me, and being an absolute annoyance.
Yep. Yep.
Come on, big boy.
We're going to take a quick break here. Hang on, get some notifications. I'm going to get some music to play for you. We'll take a quick break, and then if you hadn't guessed it, we will resume the discussion. We'll talk about Revenge of the Sith once we get back from break. Let me just get a song here. All right. What do I play for you today? Let's play this one for you. Okay. We're going to play this one for you. Laugh says, yeah, I didn't think I'd have to say it, but leading with a romance between adults is ideal. Yup, exactly. Exactly. All right, let's do this one. Okay, we'll be back in a couple minutes here, and then we're talking Revenge of the Sith. BRB. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and chilling with the Star Wars discussion. We're going to move on to the Revenge of the Sith, which is episode 3. Does anybody have any comments you would like to add about Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones? Feel free to speak up right now. And just so you know, Nacho and I are not really, we did absolutely, zero research or preparation for this. It's been years since we watched most of these Star Wars movies, so we're just mega chilling. We're not Star Wars experts. We're just seeing what happens. Last says, also, I wanted to say the embargo that was endangering all of Naboo, they get through it effortlessly. Yep, I agree. Koala Bar, I thought that the design of Kamino and the Clone Factory was actually pretty cool. Yes, it was really cool. On just a rainy, flooded, stormy planet. That was a really cool looking planet. And a document signed under a threat of death does not hold up in court. That's a good point, Laugh. I gotta turn up my AC real quick. It's kind of hot.
Well, you know what, Laugh? This isn't real life court. This is space court.
Yeah, and Random Anonymous, SugiLogic streams on everything. And that's not a joke. I stream on everything.
You know what, Laugh? I'm not an expert in space court.
Okay.
But I do know bird law.
Ridatax know where I was going with that. Okay. We're ready? We're gonna go to Revenge of the Sith. Are you ready for Revenge of the Sith, Nacho?
I am, because it is arguably the best of the prequel trilogies.
Oh, it's 100% the best of the prequel movies, I would say. Revenge of the Sith gets so much right. Instead of me just going over every little thing I love about Revenge of the Sith, let me just say my favorite part of Revenge of the Sith is the Execute Order 66 sequence. That part is just holy shit, this movie is brutal. It is one of the most, brutal, dark, and, violent, and just savage Star Wars movies ever. Execute Order 66, we get this sequence where we go to all these beautiful planets and we just watch Jedi get murdered. We go to Megiddo and we watch Kiandi Mundi get murdered. We go to Felucia and we watch Ayla Secura get murdered. And then, even, the other deaths, Mace Windu gets his arm chopped off, he gets electrocuted, he gets thrown out of a window, Anakin gets 2 legs chopped off.
How do we not talk about Mace in episode 2?
We haven't yet. But Anakin gets 2 legs and an arm chopped off and then burnt by lava. But he doesn't die. Count Dooku gets his head cut off and a rolls around on the floor. Like, it's just savage. It is just savage. Yeah, spoiler alert, actuality. Welcome back to the SugiVerse. It is some dark shit, but it is good. I really love just, like, when Anakin does turn, and they just have these, like, brutal, violent, just, like, murder the Jedi sequences. Those are so good. That's my favorite part about the movie. Damn. I don't want to just go too long on my opening statement, but yes, Mace Windu in Episode 2, the part where he decapitates Jango Fett.
Yeah.
That is nuts. That was nuts. Oh my god. What else would I say about Revenge of the Sith? Really strong opening. Like, even way stronger opening than the other two prequels, because they have that battle above Coruscant where Palpatine was captured, and then everyone's trying to save Palpatine, and they introduce General Grievous. It's just like this huge-ass space battle, and that sequence goes on for a long time, but it's dope. Speaking of General Grievous, I freaking love General Grievous. What a badass villain who wielded 4 lightsabers at one time. His whole fight and rivalry with Obi Wan Kenobi was awesome. If I were to say... hello there. General Kenobi. If I were to say one big negative with Revenge of the Sith, it would be that I feel like Anakin's turn to the dark side was just really rushed. And I'll bring up the one thing, I'll bring up the word that makes everybody pissed. It was very Game of Thrones Season 8, with Anakin's turn to the dark side. We go from his conversation where he's saying goodbye to Obi Wan, where he's going to Utapau. He's like, Master, like, may the Force be with you. And Obi Wan's like, it won't be long, man. Just hang in there. Like, you're going to be a Jedi Master soon. You're going to be the greatest Jedi ever. Like, they look like this is great. Like, they're good friends. Like, we've always heard that Anakin and Obi-Wan were good friends, and we don't really see it until Revenge of the Sith. They're good friends for, like, the first half of that movie. They go from him saying goodbye to Obi-Wan, they're, like, good friends, they care about each other, they're, like, brothers, and then 20 minutes later, Palpatine's just like, oh, Padme's gonna die, you're having dreams, you gotta turn to the dark side or she's gonna die, and then Anakin's like, alright, I'll kill everybody. And then he's just pure evil. It was very, very rushed. Like, what we got was good, but it was super rushed, and I wish more of the movie would have focused on that, on his turn to the dark side, because what we did get was good. One of the best scenes in the movie was the scene where Anakin's talking to Palpatine, and Palpatine tells him the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise. It's not like a forced, like, move the plot forward conversation. It's just them having a conversation about the dark side, and it's really, really good. That's just like a very good character building sequence. I wish we just more of the movie focused on that, on Anakin's turn, because it's such a big moment. I wish this movie was like 1 hour longer too. It would have been great. I just felt rushed. Like, almost everything we got in the movie was really good, but I just felt like the whole movie was super rushed, and I wish it was just longer. So once again, it was kind of like Game of Thrones Season 8. It was just a lot of great ideas. What we got was decent, but it felt very rushed, and I felt like I wanted a lot more out of it with Revenge of the Sith. Which is kind of, like, for the situation we were at, where Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, like, were disappointing for a lot of people. That's a good problem to have with a Star Wars prequel, is like, I wish this movie was longer so we could get more of this content that we got. And real quick, everyone's saying hi to Actuality, the legend. Luckily, Ahsoka was expelled from the Jedi Order before Order 66, yes. The Childlings, very sad. You hate to see it. It's not a story of the Jedi would tell him, to be fair. Ian McDiarmid's such a solid actor. And yes, Coastal Cinephile. Also one of the best parts of Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine. He's an amazing villain, like, from beginning to end throughout that entire movie. He's dope. When he transforms, like, he fights Windu and he gets struck by his own lightning, and he transforms into, like, the super creepy Palpatine. He is fucking scary. He looks like nightmare fuel when he transforms into the creepy Palpatine. So yes, thank you, Coastal. Yeah. You go ahead.
Well, and I want expounding upon Palpatine. The other thing that makes him such a terrifying enemy is that he wins because he's manipulating from two sides. Where he's manipulating the Senate to vote him into Supreme Chancellor, which is very World War II or pre-World War II-esque of Star Wars, which we do see some of that other stuff later on, especially in the reboots. Or the sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. But he is very much worm tongue.
Yeah.
And I agree exactly with what you said. I like that, where Lord of the Rings did it right, where like we had the little snippets of worm tongue to get everything across. The focus wasn't on that story. The issue with Star Wars is that the focus was that story, and it was so quickly just plowed through of like, hey, we got to get him to the dark side real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And his betrayal just kind of, like you said, the last time we really saw anything dark from him was killing all the sand people.
Which is like 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's not really that build up to his switch. It's not like where Gandalf and Saruman fight, where Gandalf goes to Saruman. This is our first encounter with Saruman. They have that little quick discussion, and then it's on to the wizard fight.
Yeah.
And we don't need that. Okay, we don't need their whole history that, yeah, they came to Middle Earth almost 2,000 years ago. He was good at one point. Like, all of that's explained real quick, and it's explained later on. And it's just, I don't know, there's a little bit of sloppiness that doesn't work in the original trilogy, or in the prequel trilogy.
Yep.
In the original trilogy, it had some sloppy moments because they were writing it as they went, so all the twists and turns was brand new. Like, it was like, okay, oh shit, Luke and Leia are siblings. Their romantic kiss is now quite a bit awkward.
Yep.
But
yep.
Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3 didn't have that luxury of creating it as they went. They had an endpoint in mind.
Mm-hmm.
They just did a horrible job in spacing out the 3 movies.
Yep.
Like, I get you have to set up the society beforehand. You can't just throw a rebel in or a rebellion because we already know that's happening and later on.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, I don't know. It's a weird spot. And honestly, I don't remember a whole lot of Episode 3. I've probably only seen it a couple times, and there's those big parts that stick with me.
Mm-hmm.
I had watched it, like, it was the first movie I watched moving back to the United States.
Yeah.
First time I moved to Nebraska, by the way, was I saw Star Wars Episode 3.
Uh-huh.
But I do remember liking it a lot better than the first 2 in the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely that much more mature movie. Episode 2 is really great, but Episode 3 starts off very much so like Episode 4 starts off, where they're actively hunting someone from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're right into the action from the beginning, instead of taking an hour to even get to the first fight. Now the Jedi are taking the fight. Now we know that there's this enemy. We're taking the fight to them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. There's parts where I feel Hayden Christensen does a lot better job, because I think he is he's a good actor in certain regards, in very, very limited roles, where he's playing a very whiny kind of emo-esque depressed character. Is the only times I've actually really seen him as a good actor. Mm-hmm. And not just like mopey, I love you, but we shouldn't do this. It's forbidden. He plays it good when there's more depth to the movie around him. And that's where Episode 3 really shines, and where he acts. Because the only other movie I've seen after that from him, he plays a very bad role as a crusader in a movie called... I
don't remember what it's called, but I've seen trailers for it.
Yeah, it's with Nicolas Cage.
Yup.
Shit, I'm blanking on it.
I don't remember either.
He's not very good in that one either. And those are the only two movies I really know him from outside of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which, I know he's coming back for some other stuff, which I hope he does a good job. I hope he's matured as an actor, and I hope he's learned. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It's been almost, 20 years since we last saw him really on screen prominently.
Yeah. It's been a while.
But I think that's kind of the sad part of Episode 3, is that it doesn't stand out as much because the rest of the trilogy is so underwhelming that even as good as I remember it, it still doesn't hold up.
I feel like the what we would have wanted was just it's kind of awkward because like you said, like where do you really start the trilogy? Because like if episode 2 was the first episode in the trilogy, they could have had like this Clone Wars live action movie between 2 and 3, or at least like the first half of 3 could have just been turned into one movie, and then the second half of 3 could have been its own movie. It could have just expanded. It feels like 2 movies are crunched into one. Once again, Game of Thrones Season 8 feels like 2 or 3 seasons crunched into one, so it's super rushed. Episode 3 is the best of the prequels, but it feels like 2 movies just like crunched into one, and just a lot of stuff was cut out that was really important. Like Dooku's barely in the movie, and Anakin in the Darth Vader suit is barely in the movie. There's like a lot of like huge things that are barely in the movie. I feel like Mace Windu's barely in the movie. I feel like Padme's barely in the movie, and like it could have been so much better based off of how good Episode 3 was compared to the other 2. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, and I think that just falls under the fact that Episode 1 was so underwhelming too. Because I do remember, now that I'm looking back on it, Episode 3 was the very first movie I think I ever came out of that I can remember feeling kind of disappointed, you know? Mm-hmm. Where, like, we knew where the ending was going to go. Don't get me wrong. The reveal of Darth Vader, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Him breaking down and saying no was just kind of like, eh.
That part was kind of dumb. But
yeah,
him in the suit is really, really freaking cool.
And that whole last fight between him and Obi Wan was great. Yeah. Especially like him getting his arms cut off. I have the higher ground. Yeah. And it just shows that. And this is where it shows the Jedi's power. Was that they act like, yeah, he had the higher ground, and strategically that's generally the better option, but it showed that he was acting impulsively and not really thinking about anything, whereas Obi-Wan knew what he was doing. He was much more experienced, and that scene really does have that raw emotion, and that's honestly the scene where he shines, is where it's like, I hate you. There's that very guttural, like, just angsty anger that he just pulls from, that he does such a good job with, and so does Ewan McGregor. I almost said Ian McKellen.
I thought you were going to say Elijah Wood. That's where I thought you were going.
No, Ewan McGregor, and just like him, they have such good roles, and it's such a good moment. But so much of the movie feels underwhelming compared to the action that was Episode 2.
Yep. Real quick in the chat, Zach was saying somehow Palpatine came back. Exactly. Beautiful writing, as Lass said. We'll get to that maybe in a bit later. Koala Bar says, yeah, I have the same thought too. The prequels could have been better if the timeline was spaced better. Exactly. And Reaper says, fun fact, the high ground thing is only true for battles between armies in a duel. The high ground is actually a disadvantage. Well, yeah, because your legs could get chopped off. Or your feet could. Steve, welcome back to the SugiVerse.
Lies, Reaper. How dare you disnote the canon of Star Wars.
One thing I forgot to say about Order 66 and why it was so good. One of the most like heartbreaking scenes in Star Wars is when all the Jedi are dying. But not only are they dying, Yoda's just chilling there on Kashyyyk with the Wookiees, and Yoda can just feel it in the Force that all his friends just got murdered. And they have the shot where he drops his cane, and he like falls to the ground, and he's just like grabbing his chest because he's like, oh no, my friends are dead. Like that scene is just heartbreaking. Like I that legitimately like hurts my soul when I see that scene, because it's just such a depressing scene, because he just knows that all his friends got murdered. That part is so good. That's why I love the Order 66 sequence, and that's my favorite part of the movie. Let's good. Reaper dares. I remember feeling disappointed leaving the theater too. Yoda's responsible for the downfall of the Jedi. I mean, a lot of Jedi are responsible for the downfall of the Jedi. Yeah. Yoda's definitely one of them. I wouldn't say single-handedly, but a lot of them are responsible, Zach.
They are all responsible.
He's definitely played a big part in the downfall. I wouldn't say just Yoda, but he's definitely played a big part.
No.
He's a huge blame on Yoda. I agree.
Here's where I blame all the Jedi. They constantly say the Sith don't exist. We eradicated them forever ago. But then they're all laying all this shit on Anakin to be like, oh, you'll bring balance to the Force. No shit. You guys already are imbalanced. How the hell do you guys not know
y'all
that?
Y'all gonna die. Exactly.
Did they not teach you basic math in Jedi school or whatever the hell it's called?
The Jedi Council is they're not very intelligent. It's definitely their fun. And Angie, how you doing? Welcome back to the SugiVerse. Zach really hates Yoda, and I would say Yoda, as far as like how powerful and smart he is, he's pretty dumb for how smart everybody says Yoda is.
Zach, if it makes you feel better, I know he has a real name, but I hate Baby Yoda.
Yoda's pretty dumb. I'm just reading the chat. Anyone have any other comments you have on Revenge of the Sith? If not, we will move on to our next topic. And Angie, it's an honor to see you again. I hope you've been doing well. Angie abandoned us and doesn't play Overwatch anymore. Grogu, yeah, his name's Grogu. With us, Angie hates me. I mean, we have drama about the Overwatch team.
His name is Grogu.
His name is Grogu. That is his name. You've been busy?
I'm glad he got punched by those stormtroopers. And my favorite video still, or one of my favorites, is the stormtroopers punching him to Toto's Africa.
I mean, I like that video too because I love Toto by Africa. That's a beautiful song. We will, and that scene is really cute. Song. We will settle this in Overwatch team chat instead of airing it. All right, Zach, sounds good. Thank you for bringing the Overwatch drama out of the chat. Zach's mad because
so Zach's bringing Anakin vibes to this.
Yeah, how dare you, Nacho? I've left the reins down in Toto. Hell yeah,
and Koala, I have not seen The Mandalorian. I've been told multiple times I will like it because it pulls a lot of inspiration really from Kurosawa and spaghetti westerns, which Kurosawa invented. But
I don't want to talk about The Mandalorian because you haven't seen it. I don't want it to be spoiled for you, but it's good. Right. I've watched The Mandalorian. I think it's really good. But anyway, our next topic. I don't really want to talk about the original trilogy because everybody loves the original trilogy, and so I think our opinions wouldn't be that unique. So I would like to skip to Episode 7, The Force Awakens, for our next topic.
Before I get into that, fuck you, Austin.
Beautiful. A beautiful statement. A beautiful take by NachoEgg. Fuck you, Austin. What a beautiful take.
No. I'll get to The Mandalorian at some point if I can find it on DVD.
Oh, it's really good. If it releases on DVD, I'll buy it and send it to your house for you.
I'll get it myself. So
it is good. I love it.
Force Awakens.
You start this one. You go.
Okay. So I have a lot of positive things to say about it. My one negative is that yes, it's basically a duplication of Episode 4. Just they've done the whole show and manga thing of, well, we had a Death Star in Episode 4, we didn't have a Death Star in Episode 1, so the next logical thing is we make an even bigger villain with a star killer that uses a star for fuel. Alright, whatever. Like, I can get past that quite a bit. Because, I mean, again, it goes back down to the hero's journey, hero with 1,000 faces. There's only, 5 different movie plots out there or some shit like that.
Yep.
But what they did is that they did a good job of basically passing the torch, how Episode 4 had done it with Obi Wan and Luke Skywalker, without us knowing that it was a passing of a torch at the time. They basically did the exact same thing, but not with the Jedi passing of the torch. It's just, oh, here we go. It's the death of one of the most beloved Star Wars characters of all time, Han Solo.
Yep.
But I do really like that they really made it fresh and new, and they did the little things here and there that brought something a little different, like painting. I mean, it was minimal, painting like an X-wing a different color, like just doing these little things where they were limited in episode 4 on what they could do because, hey, you've got models that take 20 days to make. You're not going to make that many of them, kind of thing. But and again, I like that they brought in new people that most of us didn't really know. I knew Jason Boyega from
John Boyega.
John Boyega.
Yep.
From
Attack the Block.
Well, the stock images at the one of the university eating halls. He did a bunch of stock photos, and he was in one of the eating halls or the dining halls. But yeah, Attack the Block.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was a big thing in college for a while. Was everyone's like, "Hey, you guys realize he's been in our dining hall for years?" But yeah, I don't know. It felt fresh compared to what episode 1 had been, even though it was a rehashing of episode 4. And honestly, one of the biggest striking things for me in the movie was bringing up, or when we were really introduced to the First Order and them lining up, everything felt very much Nuremberg trial like.
Mm-hmm.
Which, for those who don't know, it's a very major Nazi rally.
Mm-hmm. I get that vibe too from the First Order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did such a good job with like really hiding it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lord of the Rings did something similar as well, in the Two Towers. But that was the other thing too, is just the quality of it was so much more advanced than anything really of the time. Because if you look at episode 1 coming out, episode 1 had good effects, but then you had Lord of the Rings come out.
Yeah.
And Lord of the Rings, yeah, exactly, stepped it up even further. And then I don't think George Lucas ever really caught up to what Lord of the Rings was doing. And that's the impressive thing, is that this little effects studio in New Zealand, because Lord of the Rings referred to their production as the biggest indie film ever made.
Yep.
And I don't know, it's there are and that's the thing, like, because there was such a big break between episode 3 and episode 7, is that 7, in a way, even though they did rehash storylines, episode 7 was reintroducing an entirely new generation of people to Star Wars. Exactly. And that's where I'm okay with them rehashing it, because they rehashed it in a different way. Yeah. It wasn't just some shot-for-shot remake. It's kind of like how when you say Scarface, everyone thinks of the 80s one. I think it's when it came out. The one with oh shit, what's his name? I'm really fucking bad with names, I guess. Yeah, I'm sure Austin will put it in the chat at some point.
Al Pacino?
Al Pacino.
Yep.
Yeah, Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
But like where that redefined Scarface, because Scarface was an old 30s mafia movie. So it's bringing light, and granted not as long as a time gap, but it's still doing the same thing in a different way to bring a new light and bring a new audience into something that's, by this point, as old as shit.
Yeah.
By media standards and other shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There are some things, especially with where the series went and killing off of beloved characters, it just kind of soured stuff. Because going back and rewatching, it's like, okay, well, what the fuck was the point of episode 6? If we're still having the war, the same shit's going on, nothing's changed in an entire generation at this point. What was the whole point? And I think that was why the series started going downhill, is because they didn't really have anywhere to go once they set it up, that they were just continuing the war that started at episode 3.
Yeah. Yep. Real quick, I'm going to look at chat. Zach says, Nacho is the biggest nerd of all time. He's quoting Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey.
Zach, you have no clue how big of a nerd I am.
Zach says, my problems with The Force Awakens and sequels is that they zoom across the galaxy to dozens of locations and don't stop anywhere to breathe. That's a good point, because, like, in the Force Awakens, they're trying to figure out where Luke Skywalker is, and nobody knows he's on this untrackable planet. And then when they complete the map, because they have BB-8 and R2-D2 gets reactivated, and they merge the maps, Rey goes to find Luke. And, like, the time it takes for her to find this, like, mystery planet is, like, literally, like, driving to... It feels like a drive to work. Like, it's like a couple minutes. Like, they dedicate, like, 2 minutes of Rey leaving the Resistance base and going to Luke's hidden planet. It feels like it's like a very casual, just short drive to the local restaurant or to your job or something like that. It's just, like, super fast.
Is this the one where they introduce the super forgettable dagger? Or is that... Does that
No,
not come
that's the last one. That is the Rise of Skywalker. This is the one that ends when Rey goes to the planet. And then Luke doesn't show up for the whole movie until the final scene. He's in the final scene, he turns around, she reaches out, and he's like, here's your lightsaber.
And Zach, you're hitting on a good thing, because that's one of my biggest complaints about the second movie in this trilogy.
Oh, yeah. I agree with Zach completely. As far as Force Awakens for me, I mainly just agree with everything that you just said. One of the things that I like the most about it is they focus on new characters. My biggest worry was when they announced, like, oh... Disney got Star Wars, they're going to do a new trilogy. Mark Hamill's coming back as Luke, Harrison Ford's coming back as Han, Carrie Fisher's coming back as Leia. I'm like, are we just going to see them, like, being old, like, leading the... Like, are we going to see them as leads again in these movies, just being old, like, old Luke? We're going to get old Han and old Leia, like, carrying these movies. Like, I don't really want to see that. Just, like, I liked them when they were in their prime in the original trilogy. I don't have any desire to see... these characters really old carrying the movies. But they're not the big leads in the movie. The leads are Rey, the leads are Finn, the leads are Kylo, the leads are Poe, which is really cool. I love that they just let the new characters lead. The newest Scream movie kind of makes fun of this. It's called The Requel, where you make a sequel that's kind of a reboot, where you bring back legacy characters that act as supporting roles to support the new cast. And it is really done really well in The Force Awakens. The clear focus is on the new characters.
And
go ahead. Yep.
All right, real quick. I want to continue on that point just real quick.
Yeah.
I do think that is a good point as well, where they do it well, is that not only have the legacy characters come back, but they've completely changed to what the older roles were. And hi, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
What they do is Anakin becomes very much this Yoda / Obi Wan like character, and then Leia becomes, now she's the general of the army. She's not just kind of like...
You mean Luke becomes
one
like
of
an
the
Obi Wan
leader
character? You said Anakin.
Oh, yeah.
Luke. Yeah.
Luke becomes an Obi Wan character.
Yep.
And I actually, it makes a lot more sense for Han Solo to die, because he's very much doing the exact same thing he was in the earlier in the first trilogy. He's not. He hasn't changed. Yeah, exactly.
He's still the old Han Solo, the smuggler.
Yeah.
But that's the Han Solo I like. I like the smuggler Han Solo. It's cute. Like him and Chewie just hanging out together. They go on the Falcon. It's like Chewie. It's just really cute to see those two just chilling, like they did in the old days. That was really cool.
Yeah.
One thing that we didn't bring up that I think is very underrated, and you kind of mentioned this, we were talking about the First Order and how spooky they were, is, I think his name is pronounced Domhnall Gleeson. He plays General Hux. He's the redhead. He's like the general of the First Order. When he's on Starkiller Base, standing in front of the army, and he's giving this speech, he's like, "We are going to destroy the Resistance. They will fear the First Order." Like right before they destroy all those planets, he is scary when he gives that speech. Like that dude is terrifying, and he's a very nerdy looking dude. But when he gives that speech, I'm like, "Oh God, this guy is evil." Like he is like creepily evil. Like. Shout out to him, because that sequence was terrifying. Like, he looked spooky. And for a person who doesn't look spooky, he was very spooky in that scene. in that sequence when he gives that speech about just we're going to massacre and wipe out the resistance. That was dope. That's something that no one brings up, but kudos to him for his performance. Now, they butcher his character. They butcher his character in the later movies, but his character I thought was great, a great villain.
And they butcher all the characters.
Yeah, they butcher them all in the later ones, but his character was great in The Force Awakens. Go ahead.
So I kind of want to know your thought on bringing back these legacy characters who are dead, specifically the general that they completely CGI'd into the movie. I don't remember his name.
Which one? On which side? Who are we talking about?
Oh no, I'm thinking of what they did in Rogue One.
You're thinking of Tarkin, Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One. Yeah, Tarkin in Rogue One. I didn't mind that. I mean, it wasn't too distracting. I thought it was honestly pretty cool to see Tarkin.
Okay.
Yeah. And even the young Leia in Rogue One, I thought it was pretty cool. Rogue One's just something else. It's in a league of its own. That's an amazing movie. Rogue One's just awesome.
We'll save that for the end of this discussion.
Yeah, we'll end it with Rogue One, because Rogue One is awesome. Real quick, Han Solo is at his best when he's getting down his luck, acting like it's skill. Yeah, that's very Han Solo. Hell yeah. What do you mean the reveal in 9 was amazing? No, it wasn't, Laugh. I disagree. I respect your opinion, though, but I disagree. In Death Star movie, Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars movies, don't at me. I agree, Reaper. As far as just other Force Awakens things, I thought Kylo Ren was pretty cool. I thought he was very unique villain. He was something different. He was just like a young Sith who didn't really get a lot of Sith training, so I thought that was cool. Something new. I thought Snoke was a little bit of a generic, he was just like a discount Dollar General Palpatine. But he was cool, though. He was, because it was Andy Serkis, so his voice was beautiful, because Andy Serkis has a beautiful villain voice. And also, I really like, doesn't really get a lot of screen time in The Force Awakens, but his best movie, once again, another character who goes downhill in the later ones, is Poe Dameron. I thought he was badass. He was just this overpower, super cheat code X-Wing pilot who was dope. I loved Poe Dameron in this movie as well. He was cool. Finn was cool. All these characters are so cool in The Force Awakens, and they all really just go downhill after The Force Awakens.
And that's the thing I love is that Finn really was a unique character, because he was a transition from, okay, well, we were using clones. Now this war's evolved, because as far as we know, all through Episode 6, and I'm just basing this off movie canon. I haven't seen any of the other stuff. Episode 6, as far as we know, everyone's a clone trooper. No one's been kidnapped, so it's kind of showing a little bit of desperation. Especially for the bad guys, because now they're not manufacturing them. They're starting to steal people from other parts of the galaxy to force into their army.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. It's kind of spooky, because it's like Finn was taken when he was a child, and his whole life they just forced him to train to be a murdering stormtrooper. That's really spooky. Once again, that just goes into the First Order being spooky, which is cool, because
sounds like another order of people who controlled the galaxy through fear, kind of.
You're correct.
Who kidnap kids from distant planet.
You're correct. You are correct. Real quick here. Reaper. I thought the reveal of Kylo was too early. His mask shouldn't have come off literally and figuratively near the end. I thought the reveal that he was Han Solo's son was a bit too early, because Snoke just kind of throws it out there. It's like, the Millennium Falcon will have your father, Han Solo. I thought that was a bit early. I wish they would have revealed that a bit later. It doesn't bother me too much, but I kind of agree with you there. As far as Ren taking off his mask, that would be pretty cool if we don't see him without the mask until later in the movie too. So I like that thought. Love Adam Driver across the trilogy. Adam Driver's a really good actor, Coastal. He's great. The directors and screenwriters just don't work together at all. Exactly. They had a different team on The Last Jedi, and that really kind of ruined everything. And then they threw them out for the Rise of Skywalker. So they just said Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker were just two movies just trying to cancel each other out, which really sucked.
I'm gonna argue something against Reaper real quick.
Go ahead.
So, my thoughts in episode 1, or sorry, not episode 1,
7.
episode 7.
Yep.
I mean, 7s look like 1s depending on how bad your writing is.
Yep.
But I was okay with his reveal earlier. Because, I mean, it's basically the same relationship between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. I mean, shoving that later on doesn't really do anything. It's just redoing of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's not really showing like the what's the term? The resolve that Darth Vader had from the get-go of holding back that information from Luke. Mm-hmm. As like everyone knows, if they met, you're expecting Han Solo to not know that Kylo Ren's his son?
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. I think so. He says, "I didn't mean the reveal as to his parentage, the reveal of him not being like Vader, of just being different from Vader." What would you say to that, Nacho?
Well,
now,
I mean,
now it really feels like we're in a trial. We're just Reaper objecting.
Well, here's the thing: is I like that they reveal that he's not like Vader because he is trying so hard to be Vader. Of like he's trying too hard from the very beginning to be like Vader, from his mask down to his attire. Like he's trying a little too hard. I'm okay that they kind of reveal that, hey, he's not Vader, but he has Vader lineage. It's like the warlord trying to live up to his great general father. Like it's an Avatar where Zuko's trying to live up to his father's expectations the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And that's a really good point too. I like that. Anybody else have thoughts or questions on The Force Awakens? I do agree, like, the first thing you said, the one kind of problem is the Starkiller base. That's like the third time they used a big battle station. We got to destroy it. Final battle. Because, I mean, A New Hope had Death Star. Return of the Jedi had the Death Star 2. Phantom Menace had the droid control ship. And then they're like, oh, here's Starkiller base. We got to destroy it. So, yeah, that's it doesn't ruin the movie, but it's just like, oh, I wish they would have done something new and different. Like, yeah. Exactly. One thing we didn't say, I do love BB-8. I think he's adorable.
BB-8 was a cute upgrade from R2-D2.
Oh yeah, I love BB-8. Love him. He's cute. Here's a nitpick. There's the scene when they're hauling the Rathtars. This is like when Han Solo and Chewbacca capture the Millennium Falcon. And then, like, the two, like, gangs that are after Han Solo because he didn't pay them show up. They have two of the actors, I don't know their names, but they're two of the main actors from the Raid movie, which is an awesome movie. It's one of the best action movies I've ever seen. And these guys are insanely good at just, like, action and choreography. And they're in the movie for, like, less than a minute. So that's just a nitpick. Like, I wish I would have got to see those actors do some martial arts, because their martial arts skills are insanely good. They're 10 out of 10 amazing, and they kind of just wasted them, because I heard that they were in the movie before I even saw the movie, so it was a letdown just to see them not really do anything with their martial arts skills. So that's just a nitpick. Reaper has responded to you. Something new and different that didn't suck or shit on previous material or make it retroactively feel cheap. Keeping Mark Hamill a secret to the end was a nice surprise. I agree. That was cool. How we didn't see Luke until the final scene. I agree, Costa.
Yeah.
That was good. Are we ready to move on to The Last Jedi? Actually, do you want to do, since I don't really remember a lot with the Rise of Skywalker, do you want to do The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker in one category?
We can do that.
Because
I mean, it's
I don't know about you, but
it doesn't change the bullshit that's both movies.
I don't remember much of The Rise of Skywalker. I struggle to remember what happened in that movie.
You got to remind me on title names, because I don't. The Last Jedi was the next one, and then Rise of Skywalker was the final one, right?
The Last Jedi was 8, Rise of Skywalker was 9. So basically, here's like the quick rundown from what I know. Last Jedi was the one where Rey goes, she's at the island and Luke trains her. And Luke's all depressed. He's just like, the Jedi sucked, they failed, like, I'm done with this shit, like, if I get back into this conflict, like, it's just gonna go bad. Like, the Jedi just have a history of failure. But then he ends up training her because, well, one, R2 shows him the hologram of, help me Obi Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. So he starts training her, and then she goes off to fight to save her friends. And then Luke ends up, like, projecting, like, himself to distract Kylo Ren so all the friends could escape. But the real problem with that one was the Poe Dameron and Finn plot. Like, it was just 100% filler. It was just, like, this really, really slow chase of this Resistance cruiser being chased by Snoke's ship. And for, like, 80% of the movie, they're just in this really slow ship chase. Meanwhile, Holdo, who's played by Laura Dern, she's in charge because Leia was knocked unconscious, and Poe is like, what's the plan? And she's like, oh, I'm not going to tell you what the plan is. And so Poe creates this mutiny while Finn and Rose are trying to, like, hack Snoke's ship so they can't track them. And they all just, like, fail. They all fail at their, like, objectives. So really it's just a shit ton of like, filler that doesn't really add to the story. I thought the Rey, Kylo Ren, and Luke stuff was pretty cool. But that whole, like, Poe Dameron, Finn, Holdo, that whole plot just was... It was really boring, is what I would say. That's where The Last Jedi hurt for me. I'm gonna let you know what?
Let's keep them separate categories real quick, just because it's gonna be easier.
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Here's how I think how they decided it.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 7. Okay, the main criticism is it's too much like Episode 4. Well, you know what? We're going to condense everything else that happens in the rest of the franchise, everything else, from Episode 1 to Episode 6. We're going to shove it into one movie, and fans will like that because it's got a little bit of everything that they want.
Yeah.
And yes, I was just thinking about earlier, the movie is boring because the long-ass space chase is just like the movie Speed, but worse.
Well, way worse. It's significantly worse. I would rather watch Speed any day than that chase. That's way worse.
And I felt like... So, all the other, like, little side bits is just like, oh, we're going to go to this planet, we're going to go to that planet, we're going to go to that planet. We're going to do all this little bullshitty stuff that doesn't mean anything at all. Mm-hmm. I also felt Poe's love interest was completely wasted. She was a cool, interesting character.
Rose.
They fucking wasted her. Yeah. She's got a bit part for a movie that's supposed to lead up to, like, being this Luke and Leia moment that goes absolutely nowhere. And it's not like in a Miyazaki movie where Miyazaki's philosophy is that just because boy and girl meet doesn't mean they fall in love and are together forever. But that works because that's the focus of that movie, is their inner relationship. This one, it's a side relationship, so it doesn't fit anything. She's kind of a pointless character by that point. And I know they got rid of her because she said some problematic tweets or some shit, which is, I'm in that camp of, for the most part. Mm-hmm. There are cases, but I'm able to separate the artist from the art.
Yep, me too.
And Disney's awful on... And a lot of stuff now is awful of dismissing characters because they say something, or dismissing actors because they say something that the public at mass doesn't care for.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but Poe's character, like his whole suicide mission at the end just kind of ruins what a character he was, where he's getting out because he wants a life. He's trying to do something interesting, or he's trying to do something meaningful instead of being this generic stormtrooper. Poe's character, pointless character. The Casino Planet is just Star Wars Episode 1 with animal racers.
Yep.
It just, they pulled so many small elements in an attempt to try and appease fans. I've talked to you about this movie where the first one's good, but the second one just feels like they lost the plot and we're trying to I can't think of my phrasing for it. Appease as many fans as they can. Shit. I'm blanking on the franchise.
Was it a horror movie?
Might have been these movies, actually. I can't remember.
It might have been.
It was some movie where I was bitching about it one day. We were playing games of like, I absolutely hate it because it's just a bunch of fan service to try and appease some nerds.
Mm-hmm. I would say
not fan service in the way you guys are thinking.
What I would say, and this is a hot take. I would say the Kingsman movies. I would say the first one's really original, but I would say the second one is just very, very fan service like driven instead of being original. If I were to think of it, I would say the Kingsman movies is where first one's original, second one is just like fan service dump. Which is a fun movie, but it's not an original movie. One thing real quick, Coastal said if it would have been better if Finn's arc if he had been able to sacrifice himself. I agree. The whole movie was building up to this big sacrifice where Finn's going to save everyone, but he doesn't die because Rose saves him. Therefore, all those scenes were a waste. They built up to nothing. Just like they go to Canto Bait so they can find a hacker to hack Snoke's ship on the tracker, but they fail. They get caught. So it built up to nothing. There's just a ton of scenes that lead up to nothing. And like, here's the other thing. Why doesn't Holdo just tell Poe Dameron, hey, we're just going to load up these escape pods. Everyone else is going to escape. I'm going to stay behind in the cruiser, and I'm going to do the kamikaze light speed jump just to slow down the First Order. Why can't he just tell him the plan? Because if she tells him the plan, then he doesn't mutiny. But for plot reasons and just for filler, she doesn't tell him the plan. So he makes this whole mutiny just so they can make the movie longer. It's so stupid. It's just bad writing. And
fucking Leia getting launched out into space and then
just like flying. She just flies.
I don't know why. I mean, it's a little thing. I know in space it looks good to have these freezing effects. It's cool, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that's not how that works. You boil alive in your own fluids.
Mm-hmm.
But also, this is where I got pissed off at Disney.
Yeah.
Because after understanding what they were doing and why they did it, first off, where Luke is found, filmed on the Isles of Arran, I'm kind of kicking myself years later because I could have gone to that area.
Ooh.
Horribly seasick, and my parents were being very nice and said, hey, let's just go to the island that's 30 minutes away, not an hour away. And so, like, the isle that's an hour away is where it was filmed at. So I was very close to it.
Damn. Lucker dog.
But the fucking porgs. I fucking hate the porgs. And I get why they added them, because apparently on that island, there's a shit ton of puffins, and they are a pain in the ass to deal with. Good job. But,
that's good.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Also, and like the reason I hate the porgs is because they're so Disney-esque that they're trying to keep something so cute into it to sell merchandise.
And that is true.
Which leads into my hatred of Baby Yoda and a bunch of other shit that Disney does.
You know who bought a porg toy? I know someone who bought a porg.
Oh my god.
I did.
God damn it, Sugi.
I definitely did. It was a gift for somebody, but I did buy it. I bought a porg toy.
I'm not wrong. I am not wrong about porgs. Okay, here's the thing I hate most about the porgs. It's maybe not so much them themselves. The fucking part where Chewbacca is sitting there roasting one, then it looks like a goddamn cartoon roasted chicken. It looks so stupid, so plastic, and so awful.
That scene was funny.
I thought it's so stupid.
I thought the porgs were funny.
I don't like them.
I like them.
If we want to talk about wasted characters, I do not have a porg plushie, Austin. Don't give him ideas.
Oh, I can buy you one, Nacho.
No.
The next community challenge: buy Nacho a porg plushie.
God damn. No. So here's the thing. So wasted characters. We've talked about them on the good side. On the bad side, Captain Plasma, Snoke, all the good villains that we built up. The only good villain left is Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And they just felt, and also, what was it? opposite BB-8, the black one. Like he
yeah, BB-90.
Everything was so wasted
Yeah.
on that entire movie, and the ending. Okay, some of the ending fine. They got the epic ending of Luke Skywalker sacrificing himself so everyone can get away.
Yep.
After that, when everyone's running and starts doing the stupid montaging of like life will go on, people will do this.
Yeah.
The slave kid's still the slave kid, but hey, he's got the Force, and it's a stupid little moment. Like that whole ending should have been it felt like how the entire series should have ended.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a conclusion to a series that still had another part coming.
Yeah.
He was trying to be so sentimental and bullshitty that it didn't do a good job.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
I want to catch up on chat real quick because I missed a lot of things. Real quick. Okay. Every scene in Rise of Skywalker was just setting up the MacGuffin in the next scene. Exactly. Sad boy drinking milk. Oh yeah, the green milk scene. I remember. Oh yeah, the green
milk does a body good.
The green milk scene. Forgot about that. The opening scene was a metaphor for the whiplash that was Revenge. Rise of Skywalker. It was filler and contradicting its own messenger. The Last Jedi's casino planet was boring as fuck, but the Force Mirage reveal at the end with Luke at the end gave me goosebumps. That part was really cool. The Luke stuff was really cool. I really, really liked the Luke plot in the movie, and the rest of it was so meh. Exactly, Koala. Like, it's still not clear who is supposed to have been in the right in that subplot. Speed is so good. Rian Johnson said that he split up Finn and Poe because their dialogue was interchangeable, which to me just seems like he didn't understand the character.
That's fucking lazy. That is lazy as shit.
That's just laziness. That's just bad writing. It would have been better if Finn's arc had been if he'd been able to sacrifice himself. Yep. Casino Planet, Canto Bite, fan service, retconning. A lot of retconning going between those two movies. Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi. She refused to even tell him that there was a plan. Like, I feel like Poe was in the right there. Yeah, the Holdo and Poe conflict was just so dumb. I hate that. Merchandising. They also undercut their own morale of save, don't destroy by having what's-her-name kamikaze the ship. Exactly! Like, Leia and Holdo are like, we need to focus on saving people instead of hurting people. And then Holdo does the kamikaze lightspeed charge and kills a bunch of people in the First Order. That means absolute, like, what? Like, exactly what Reaper says. They contradict their own message. That's just, like, stupid. Alright. The three most recognizable things in Star Wars are Han Solo, Darth Vader, and Yoda, so Disney tried launching a series with them. Yep. And let's not even get into what they do to C-3PO in the third one. Snoke, a big red herring. The green milk was only good humor in the movie. Yeah, like Nacho just said, and like the whole chat just said, a lot of wasted characters. Finn gets wasted. Poe gets wasted. They introduce Rose, who gets wasted. Holdo's wasted. Yeah, not in the fun way. Leia, they waste her character. They waste Snoke. They waste Hux. Hux went from like this spooky, like evil dude, evil villain to just a joke. He's just like comic relief. Like with
they waste Luke's character too.
Oh yeah. I mean, I thought some of the Luke stuff was good, and a lot of the other stuff was kind of stupid. Like, I really don't like the scene where he just receives the lightsaber at the beginning, then he just tosses it over for, like, comic relief. I didn't like that. I really hated how Hux was comic relief. That one hurts so much to see Hux.
It's the exact same issue the exact same issue that you had with Episode 3, where there was so much shit that they just shoved it all together to try and make a movie.
Yeah.
And I think it was Laugh who said it earlier, was writers, directors just weren't talking. Like, they had no fucking clue of what they were doing. And honestly, I feel it's kind of Disney's fault for trying to have different directors for an entire trilogy.
100%. It's
like, at least when George Lucas had to step down as directing and Spielberg took over, they were in communications. They had talks.
I don't think it was Spielberg. It was someone else.
Someone else.
I can't think of. I think his name was Ivan something. I can't remember his name. But yes,
I don't remember the
Empire and Return of the Jedi had a different director. It wasn't George Lucas.
But there was still communication, and they were going with George Lucas's vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and yeah, some can be said that by Episode 6. Lucas had lost the plot a little bit when he decided to make it more of an opera than anything.
Yeah.
But Episode 6 is still good.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't think that can be said for anything else in this anything else in the series, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Over Sarcastic Productions does a good breakdown of how Luke is OOC for almost the whole film. Luke was done dirty. Luke was done dirty.
I apologize my ignorance. I don't know what OOC means.
What does OOC mean, Reaper? Because I'm not sure.
Oh, out of commission.
Out of commission. Yeah,
okay.
That's correct. Yeah, that is
out of
correct.
character.
Yeah, out of character. Yeah, I would agree.
Well,
he was
okay.
Well, because he cut himself off from the Force because he didn't want to be a part of it after he was responsible for Kylo Ren's turn to darkness.
Let's fucking talk about that bullshit. Okay, so I liked that. I understand Disney wanting to let their writers and directors come up with something new, do something original, not be tied to the source material.
Yeah.
But from what I know of the source material, it's so much better. Because the reason Luke left and went away was because he saw the dark side coming to him, and he was starting to be turned to it. And so he's like, you know what, fuck this. I'm not going to become the next Vader. I'm going to fucking move on and I'm going to get away from everything. Well, it completely fucking got rid of that. Like, it's like, oh, this boy's in turmoil. Should murder him. Gonna do exactly what my father did. Like,
yeah, it's rough.
It just completely fucked this. Like, okay, episode 4, and here's why I harp on this one so much. Episode 4 brought so much hope. It was the new hope in revitalizing this franchise. Yeah, it's a repeat of episode 4, but it was still fresh enough.
You're talking about
7, yeah.
Yep.
7 was fresh enough. And then episode 8 just absolutely took all those hopes and put a big fucking vent hole to shoot as many laser blasts and mines as we could into it to fucking blow it out.
Yeah.
And just ruin everything.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I agree. And Reaper, I agree with you. It would have been way cooler if Luke had been like that, where he started feeling the darkness and the dark side, and so he goes to an island just to die, to be away from the world so he doesn't bring power back to the dark side. Like, that would have been way cooler than what they did with, like, oh, he's responsible for Kylo's turn, so he just quits on the Force and the Jedi. He just quits and he goes to the island to die away from everything else. Do we have any other comments about The Last Jedi before we move on to The Rise of Skywalker, which I'm struggling to remember what that movie was even about? This one's going to be quick, and then we'll end with Rogue One, and we'll call it good. We'll go raid somebody.
I will say...
Let's go to Rise of Skywalker. Let's just do it. Let's get into it.
Rise of Skywalker, I am so glad the way I saw that one. So, where I work for, we have team building activities. And one of the other teams, their architect likes to or their team leader likes to go to movies for their team building stuff. I have 2 friends on that, or had 2 friends on that team. They've since moved to other teams, but one of them wasn't feeling good that day. So I bailed work halfway through the day on Friday to go, to be fair, I did have my hours already done for the week. Yeah. So I bailed on doing extra work to go watch Star Wars Episode 4 with another, or Star Wars Episode 9 with another team's group. So I got to see this last one for free. I didn't pay my money for it. Nice. The downside, I saw it in IMAX and 3D.
Oh, damn. Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah,
what do you remember? What do you remember happening in this movie? I'm just interested to hear because
a lot,
okay,
a lot of fucking bullshit and trying to pick up the pieces that was Episode 8. So basically, there's a dagger. There's a bunch of bullshit between Rey and Kylo Ren. She has her dark side moment on some fucking island that's supposed to be like a Sith planet or some stupid shit. I don't remember. They basically try and redo what happens when Luke's tempted by the dark side in that fucking snake hole of whatever backwater, the Alabama of Star Wars universe that Yoda lives on.
Yeah.
No insult to you, Alabama. That's the first state that came to my mind that's super swampy.
Dagobah? What was it called? Dagobah?
Yeah, he's in the Dagobah system.
Dagobah, yeah.
Yeah. And then the whole fucking bullshitty reveal of, well, Palpatine's been fucking cloned and Rey's not, or Kylo Ren's not that bad of a guy. Now they're in love. Like, I understand they were building up that tension back and forth between each other. Like, and I love that tension. But it just fucking goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. And then we find out that Rey's Palpatine's kid from someone that we had no fucking clue about.
Yep.
It's the whole, Luke, I am your father. Not really. It's Rey, I am your grandfather, or the clone of your grandfather.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's just such fucking bullshit. And oh my god, I fucking hate the ending. I absolutely hate the ending because we are back. We are back to square fucking one from at the very end of the movie where she's bearing the Luke and Leia's lightsaber. And let's fucking gloss over the fact that Leia's all of a sudden a fucking Jedi Master now. Yeah. I knew she was Force sensitive, but not a fucking Jedi Master. And her bringing balance back to the Force. One's not an even number. One's odd. And I get the whole thing, her yellow lightsaber, it's a dark Jedi turn, or it's a Sith turn good. It's like, it's fucking bullshit. We're back at square one. The Force is not balanced. We know from the last movie that there's some kid out there with at least the Force power to bring a broom to him, like fucking Harry Potter saying up.
Yep, you're right.
Like, there's just so much shit that they tried to that they had, and honestly, it's not completely their fault too. They had such a fucking bad ending to deal with that they had to try and refit all those bullshit pieces into some cohesive puzzle. It doesn't work. Yeah. And it's just so...
It was rough. I think this one's even worse than The Last Jedi, to be honest. I would say Rise of Skywalker is worse. I'd rather watch The Last Jedi than Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, and what was it? It's like fucking... don't get me wrong, I love the effects for this, where like the whole sky cracks and shit, and they have like they break into like the parallel universe or some shit. Parallel universe is stupid as shit. Although it reminds me somewhat of like Bleach and like the Soul Society of like the sky cracking and like the hollows coming through and shit. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, cool effects, but stupid ass plot of like, oh, we've never been able to detect him because he's living in this parallel galaxy bullshit.
Yeah. It's very dumb.
And it's this, and it's a stupid dagger that fucking gets you there. Fuck off.
Yeah, it's like, I think Laugh said this earlier, but the majority of the scenes is just like, let's go find this relic, let's go find this dagger, let's find this magic object, and then let's go here and find this magic object. The majority of the movie is just finding different MacGuffins, which is very boring and repetitive.
Yeah.
Also, like, Koala Bar and Reaper are saying, like, why the hell would anyone have a kid with Palpatine? Like, he's disgusting.
I think if Palpatine had a kid, it wasn't by their choice.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Because he's nasty. Like, that's just gross. And the super lightning.
Here's what it is.
Oh no, yeah, the super lightning. Yikes.
In video game terms, it is basically an entire movie about fetch quests.
It is. Yep, you're right. Yep, the blink and you miss an explanation about Snoke. Didn't, like, Palpatine say that he made Snoke? So, like, he created Snoke just as a puppet.
Or Snoke was, like, a shitty fucking clone of him.
Oh, my God. This is...
Granted, I've only seen this trilogy once. Exactly once. I have never rewatched them.
I've watched The Rise of Skywalker twice, and, yeah, I forgot most of it.
I've seen Rogue One more than I've seen the trilogy.
I've seen Force Awakens a bunch. Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker I've only watched a couple times. I've watched Rogue One a lot because I love Rogue One. I'm trying to think of anything I can add to Rise of Skywalker. I agree the ending was awful. It was just too, like... It was just predictable. The majority of the story was just boring because, like we just said, it was just, we have to find this relic, we have to find this dagger. And I think they had to find all these relics that would lead to finding the location of Palpatine, who's in, like, this parallel realm, like you just said. It's awful. Very bad, very uninteresting plot. I think Reaper said it, but like once again, a lot of the characters got wasted. Poe and Finn have like nothing to do. They're just kind of there. As is most of the characters in the movie. There's this
Reaper's a lore dude. Reaper's the reason I want to get into like the lore of Pacific Rim.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'll be a different conversation. But I know Reaper's like really like super into Pacific Rim, which is an awesome movie. And like Reaper says, they don't even show us Palpatine's return. It's tell don't show. Yeah, they don't even explain why Palpatine's still alive. It's just like to put butts in seats to get people to sell tickets. They made Palpatine. They just flat out showed that Palpatine is back, like on the posters,
and it just shows how
in the trailers. Yeah, it's just
it just shows how pointless. It shows how pointless the original trilogy was. Is because it's like it's the same fucking bad guy. Nothing's changed. They're still at war.
Yeah,
the Republic's still in power.
And even it makes it even worse because Kylo Ren rose to power. Even if you didn't like Snoke dying in The Last Jedi, it makes Kylo Ren more powerful. He overthrew Snoke to be the main villain. Now Palpatine shows up and Kylo Ren gets demoted down to not the main villain once again. So it's a complete waste of everything that happened in The Last Jedi. They wasted Kylo Ren. Like that big moment where he turns on Snoke, it means nothing now because Palpatine's now in charge. It's stupid. It's terrible.
And this is about the beginning of my whole anti-Disney crusade.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that's it. These last two movies are.
Oh yeah.
These are the cornerstone of my despising Disney.
Oh, it's understandable, but
yeah.
Once again, I say give The Mandalorian a shot because it's way better.
I will.
It's way better. It's way better than the movies.
I've heard Disney is doing a good job with like their spin-offs and standalone. Yeah. And as much as like IGN was trying to fucking rub the Book of Boba Fett through the dirt because they like the Mandalorian better. Mm-hmm. I've still heard the Book of Boba Fett is still a pretty solid series.
It's significantly better than The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. It is 100 times better than those movies. I guarantee you that. Significantly better.
I'll get to the Mandalorian at some point. I might have to go to a friend's house and bug them for their Disney account. Or go to their place and watch it with them.
You should definitely do it. It's so much better. It redeems Star Wars, I would say. And just on this topic of like hating Disney because of those movies, and they treated those movies more like products than like actually wanting to tell a good story. You brought up a really good point of separating the artist from the art, and just a point that I would talk about is separating the company from the product. I mean, it's something that is just very, very just like depends on each individual situation. But there's so many like products and forms of entertainment where you really love the entertainment that you get, but the company that is making money off of this entertainment or the people who make money off of it are often like really shitty people or really bad people who promote really bad things, like just like
as a really bad product.
Exactly, like you don't want to get Disney Plus because you hate Disney because of because of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker and other things. I know you hate Disney because of other reasons, and I agree. You've told them to me, and I do agree. But like, there's like a lot of like other products. Like I'm a huge UFC fan. I pay the UFC like $80 a month to watch all the events, and the UFC and a lot of the people who work for the UFC are really bad people. But I just prioritize my enjoyment and my happiness over other people's problems. Same with like playing Dead by Daylight. Like I remember when they had a controversy for helping Boss Protocol use their Hellraiser models for NFTs, which NFTs are like a huge scam. Everybody hates them. But in that point, I'm just like, I'd still rather play Dead by Daylight because my happiness is more important than someone else's problems. Same you could say for just other products like anything that Blizzard makes, any games that Ubisoft makes, anything that's Harry Potter content. Like so many things are just like run by like are good like entertainment products that bring you happiness. Like the money's going to shitty people who suck.
Well, and I'm not saying I won't watch Disney because I will. I still fucking hate them regardless.
Oh yeah. But, like, I support a lot of these, like, products and forms of entertainment, whether they be movies, TV shows, and video games, knowing that shitty people are making money off of it. But I just live my life prioritizing my happiness instead of thinking about other people and how evil they are. Yep, separating the product from the creator. Exactly, Coastal. And that's just what I prioritize. And it definitely depends on each situation's different. You can't be like that for everything, but that's definitely just a message that I like to promote, especially on my channel all the time with video games and shitty developers.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Real quick, Koala Bar says there's a fan headed canon that a better idea for the sequel series is for Rey to be a reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker instead of the final reveal that we got. And like how she said, all those skills, and it would really fill out the Skywalker story. That would have been better than what we got, definitely. The House of Mouse will not tolerate Nacho's blasphemy. I have to reread it, but pretty much anything would be better than what we got. Yeah, it's a very, very awful, predictable ending. I honestly hated how Kylo Ren turned good. How he turned how he turned into Ben Solo. I hated how he turned good.
On that reincarnation awful. Bit. Can we talk about fucking Aiden Christensen coming back at the end as the ghost?
And which movie are we talking about? Are we talking about Return of the Jedi or Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker.
He comes back. Do we just hear his voice or do we see him?
I thought we got to see all of them, because that's how, like, Rey gets all her powers of the Jedi, is, like, they all fucking channel her like she's a goddamn avatar.
That's right. Because we hear Mace Windu and Obi Wan's voices, too. Oh, God, I hate it. I hate that part. That part's terrible. That part's terrible. Vidava, how you doing? You didn't realize today was the 11th? Yeah. Well, you can always watch the VOD, Vidava. We have gone through...
And we've got one more to talk about.
We've got one more. You're being sick and sleeping. Oh, I hope you get better. That's not good. That's not good, Vidava. I hope you recover soon. We talked about Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, the Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. Anyone want to give any comments on The Rise of Skywalker? If not, we'll go into Rogue One, and then we'll go do a raid. This has been fun. Let's just go to Rogue One so we can talk about something awesome.
God damn it, Zach.
Oh, boy. Zach. Yeah, exactly, Vidala. We just talked about how Rise of Skywalker sucks ass. But yeah, I was saying I hated how Ben Solo became a hero. Oh god, I hated that. It was just predictable, and that's like the one thing I didn't want to happen was he turns good. He turned good. I think arguably that was probably my least favorite part was how Kylo Ren turned good. Oh.
The fucking ending kiss scene. Fuck that shit.
That was bad. Lando made an appearance. Calrissian. No, you're good, Vidava. We all agree with you. All right, let's go to Rogue One. Then we'll...
Wait, Vidava has one thing he wants to say.
Okay. The issue was they didn't continue the one vision with one director. Exactly. So they made it a mess as Last Jedi throughout The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker through all that. Exactly. That's exactly what happened, Vidava.
But here's the thing. Because Star Wars had to take itself seriously, it wasn't like... the Evil Dead franchise where everyone rewrites the one that comes before it. They couldn't do that bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Evil Dead's so good. Literally each movie undoes... Each movie is like a completely different universe from the other movie.
Even the reboot
is good.
Doesn't acknowledge any of the other movies that came before. It's like, well, we're doing our own thing.
No, Evil Dead is just that good. Exactly, it's memes before memes existed. It's just each movie is an entirely different universe in Evil Dead, and it's great. And Evil Dead's awesome. Let's talk about Rogue One. Then we'll end it. We'll go raid. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
I can go first.
Okay.
Up to you. It's your stream.
You go first. You're the guest.
Oh, no, you go first.
I'll go first. I'll go first then. Okay, so Rogue One. What I like about Rogue One, and this is like my biggest thing I liked about Revenge of the Sith, like I talked about, was how dark it got. I freaking love how dark Rogue One got and how it ended. Because damn, they killed almost the entire cast. At the end of the movie, they all died. And it was rough. It was rough on the emotions, but my god, what a good story. It literally just like, the whole movie, you just have this whole like group of people who are going to get the plans to the Death Star and then get them to the rebels, to the Rebel Alliance. And it's just like the whole movie just like starts and it builds and the tension just keeps building. And the scale and the epicness of the movie keeps building. And the quality of the movie and the scenes just keeps getting better as the movie goes on, to the point where the ending of the movie is just so damn epic. Where you have this insane, I can't even remember what the name of that beach planet was, but they just have this epic action sequence where like everyone's just like passing those like plans to the Death Star around. They like beam them up to the ship. Darth Vader boards the ship and he's just killing everyone, and they're literally like passing this floppy disk like down the hallway and they're just trying to get the plans away from Darth Vader because he's slaughtering everyone. Like literally the movie just keeps getting better, and it just starts off as like what feels like this like small spin-off and turns into this just freaking epic Star Wars like battle and showdown. It's one of like, oh god, like I remember when I first watched it, I'm like, that movie's decent, I liked it, but it's not like one of the best Star Wars movies. But every time I rewatch it, I'm like, this is one of the best Star Wars movies I've ever seen. It just keeps getting better every time I watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
goddamn, every character was really likable too. Just such a dark, way darker tone compared to the other Star Wars movies. And god, like, you go, because I'm speechless. That movie's just amazing. I love Rogue One.
I do have to completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Pulling in another reference, Vidava pulling up the forces with me, I am one with
Chirrut and
that actor,
Donnie Yen.
That actor, he pulled inspiration from his performance, shockingly, because I'm not an expert, but I've watched a lot of Japanese samurai and Yakuza films. But he pulled his reference or his inspiration from the longest running serial serial movie series, the Zatoichi franchise.
Hell yeah.
Specifically the character Zatoichi, who is Ichi the Blind.
That's so cool.
Yeah, no, I just love how it comes full circle where like Rogue One doesn't really have that feel of the influence of like the original Star Wars had. And that's the thing too, is Rogue One feels like everything is fresh. It's new. It's not something we've seen before or something rehashed. It all feels completely new and enjoyable.
Yes.
And that's it. Well, and like killing off all the characters at the end, I went in knowing it was going to be a suicide mission.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens in episode 4, is that we kind of have this heads up that, hey, this isn't going to end well for everyone. But I went and saw Rogue One with my parents, and they didn't realize that it was going to be a standalone movie. Yeah. And that's what was great about it, is that they weren't trying to make something that was going to be multiple movies. Like, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but it reminds me of how the current Batman is.
Yeah.
Where like it is a good standalone movie. Yeah, there was potential for more, but in Rogue One, they're like, you know what? Let's not make a sequel. Let's make it just the main. Like, we'll do one story and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. And there's not really like a lot of negatives I could really say. I mean, granted, they don't develop the characters super deeply, but that's not really the point of the movie. We have the one character who has a deep story, mm-hmm. and then after that, we're good. I mean, we don't really need it. They don't need to be deep. They're telling their point is to expand the Star Wars universe. We get introduced to the guy who played Hannibal,
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen. We get introduced to the creator of the Death Star plan. We get introduced to all these characters that just build the world even more and more.
Mm-hmm. I like how he was, when he designed the Death Star, he was being forced to do it, and he was against the Empire, so he intentionally put that weakness in the Death Star, just so that it could be destroyed, so he could get those plans out. That was so cool. That was so cool. Whew.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, they really did a great job with like building that up.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I don't know. Granted, I've only seen Rogue One once, so I can't say a whole lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, I gotta think about it, because you've talked about how positives and negatives.
Yeah, you're trying to think of negatives for Rogue One.
I'm trying to, because like that's the hard thing, is that it's maybe that is the negative, is that the characters aren't deep. But I mean, that I don't care at that point. Like,
Yeah,
it's an entertaining movie, and it also tells a good story. Honestly, my favorite character is the sassy droid. He's like an R2-D2 that can speak without swearing.
Yeah, and that, for me, was the saddest death of all the heroes, was when K2SO died. Because he knew, like, he was gonna die, and I forget the line he said, but it was just like, when he said it, he knew he was about to die, which was so sad. And that's just impressive voice acting by Alan Tudyk, who voiced K2SO, because he could only act off of his voice. That's all he could do. And just like, the special effects team who made K2SO, like, that's insane that you could just make that much emotion come from just a droid.
Yeah, I mean, Tudyk's great to begin with. I mean, shit, look at Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I went into that thinking, why the hell are you in this? You're too good for this movie. Because Tucker and Dale versus Evil doesn't start off super great, and then you get into it, it's like, this is good. You chose he's very choosy in what he does. And so it's like, okay, yeah, I get why you're doing that.
Yeah. Laugh brings up a good point. He says, I think a few less characters might have been good. Especially like in the first act of the movie where we just have a ton of characters. Maybe if they took out a couple of them, the movie would have moved a little bit faster paced at the beginning. It's not a huge negative, but I can see that. Where it's just like the movie, like in the first like act, is constant. Like, here's a new character, here's a new character, here's a new character. I can see that. Yeah. And
I agree with Vidava of like fans knowing all of them would die would be it could be a negative too. But at the same time, like I'm not angry with that. I think I would have been more annoyed if like somehow they had gotten out at the last ditch moment. Some stupid shit like that. Where it's like, oh, of course it has a semi-happy ending to it.
But that's
like
go ahead.
I'm okay knowing I was okay knowing that it was a suicide mission going in from the get-go. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is, and that's how it ends. Is that that they did go there, and I feel that they did that because they learned from the two movies as well.
Yep. Hey, now ex-girlfriend wanted to get into Star Wars. I started her with Rogue One. Nice. They also tell a lot about the characters just through their interactions, even without telling us their histories. That's really good. Good point, Reaper. You see that in Pacific Rim too. Characterization through subtle details instead of telling us outright. I like that a lot. Yeah.
That is exactly why it's a good movie, and I don't care about the depth of the characters, is because their interactions between each other is what's important.
Yeah.
Instead of like knowing their back history, why they're doing what they're doing. That is a great fucking point, man.
Very good, Reaper. Come to think of it, the fact that we know so little of their histories makes it more impactful. It makes us feel the weight of their deaths as what's being lost. It makes them feel more real. It makes them feel more relatable, because normal people don't go around saying, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this, here's my history. Normal people just talk. Like
on June 4th, I accidentally threw away a wrapper I was wanting.
Yeah, they feel like real conversation. So yeah, thank you, Reaper. The last 40 minutes were amazing, but the beginning and the middle felt a bit messy. Exactly, Laugh. Yeah. With like the constant, like, here's a new character, here's a new character, here's a new character. It's just a lot of stuff being like thrown at you in the beginning. So
here's the thing. Here's why I think the messiness is so good, is because Rogue One is such a ragtag group of random people. Is I think that's what makes it so why even though it's messy in the beginning is what makes it feel great, is because that's what it is. It's a messy group of people trying to figure shit out.
That's a good point. That's exactly what those characters are and what the story is. That's a really good point. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I do need to see Solo at some point. I've heard mixed things here and there, but I still want to watch it. It was just at a time frame where I wasn't going to theaters, so
I enjoyed it. It's good. I saw it twice in theaters, actually. It's good. I liked it. Anybody have any final thoughts? If not, we're gonna go do a raid. I'm glad we ended with Rogue One, because instead of us just being angry, we get to end on being happy.
Goddamn, yeah. I mean, it gets me amped. I do want to do a series on Star Wars at some point, but it's after we do Harry Potter, so it's down the line, and especially finishing Lord of the Rings, which all that's recorded. That's done for me. That's in the past, even though the last episode comes out on Sunday.
Oh, I'm excited.
I do want to do Star Wars at some point. I love this franchise, and yeah, what's that?
Oh, Coastal, yeah, Babu Freak. I did like Babu Freak in The Rise of Skywalker. He was that little character that repaired C-3PO.
I'm awful with names. I don't know who that is.
He's the little creature dude that repaired C-3PO, from what I remember.
Oh,
yeah, he was cool.
Yeah,
because he was all practical effects, from what I remember. He was really cool. I like Babu Freak. Good point, Coastal.
Yeah. Well, and that's the positive I will give the last two Star Wars, or the last trilogy.
The practical effects.
They use a mixture of practical and a digital.
Yeah,
yes.
They did. And the most of their practical effects they used were really good. They did look really good. Okay, I'm just finding someone to raid here. Any final thoughts?
Everyone,
go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for having me again, Sugi. It's always a blast. We set like a weird limit of like 2 hours. We should have started this, or we should have started at like 6, because I knew we were gonna run this late.
2 hours 45 minutes. Hell yes! Thank you so much, Nacho, and everybody. If you enjoyed listening to Nacho talk about movies tonight, there's your link there. There is your link, the Good, the Bad, and the Weird Movie Podcast. You get to listen to Nacho talk about movies every single week. It's usually every Sunday, right, that you release a new episode?
Well, it's not every single week. Right now
it's been every week to me.
For Lord of the Rings, it is.
Yeah.
Normally, it's every other week, but we are ramping stuff up for year 4 of the podcast, so there's going to be more frequent episodes and more frequent posting and just other stuff. We have a lot planned for year 4, so just keep an eye out. Follow us on social media or whatever. I have a Discord page for it now too. It's just finally got set up today, so we're ramping stuff up. So I'm
hell yeah.
If you got, I'm gonna plug. I highly recommend checking us out. I think I'm entertaining, and Chris is more entertaining than I am at times. So.
Hell yeah.
Or most of the time, she's more entertaining than I am. So.
Let's go.
But yeah, anywho, thank you guys. I mean, this is a great community. I'm glad to be part of it. It's always fun to be here and shoot the shit and talk shit to Sugi in Mortal Kombat as he whoops my ass.
And Nacho, thank you so much for hanging out here. This was so much fun. We're going to do another one. We'll think of a new topic. I like how this one had like zero planning. The horror movie one, I had this whole plan. And this was like, Star Wars, let's just see what happens. This one was great.
Oh, that's how a lot of stuff is. Don't plan and let's see where it goes.
Dude, hell yes. Cool. I'm going to hang you up on call unless you got anything else to say.
Nope. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Nacho.
Thank you all for listening to this little bit of a different episode. It was a great part to be a part of it. Just good to talk with SugiLogic and just talk to him about movies in general. If anyone wants to see any more of this content, always feel free to check out SugiLogic for one, not movie-wise, but good streamer, variety. He does a lot of fun stuff, some horror-oriented stuff as well. But yeah, let us know what you thought of this episode. We might try doing it in the future with other people and maybe get some interviews down the line. So, but anywho, this has been the Good, the Bad, and the Weird Spotlights. Thanks for listening. Peace. Thank you for stopping by this here town of the Good, the Bad, and the Weird. We appreciate your listenership, and if you want more of our takes in your life, feel free to check us out on social media at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, or TGTBTW for short. As well, if we missed a fact, your favorite part of a movie, or just have a suggestion and want to reach out and say howdy, feel free to email us at tgtbtwpodcast@gmail.com. And feel free to join our Discord at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, where we talk about movies, just share random banter here and there. And always, check out our podcasters, streamers, or any other content creator we shout out in our episodes. We really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for listening. Peace.